Well, they say it's 53 degrees, but when you factor in the wind gusts of close to 50 miles an hour in downtown Detroit, of course that temperature drops, which is going to make it a very tricky night for baseball to be played. But the Twins' next visit to Detroit is not until July, and that is in the middle of 12 straight games that the Tigers will play coming out of the All-Star break. And so you understand, especially with the game getting rained out last night, that they wanted to make sure that they got one in tonight, because they'll be playing a doubleheader tomorrow to make up the game that was canceled on Thursday. John Keating and the former Tiger Carlos Pena with you. We're approaching game time finally, and the Tigers have had great success against teams in the Central Division. They won 8-5 against the Minnesota Twins last year, 18-8 against Central Division teams here at home, which is one of the best records in baseball. And they have their ace, that young man, Tarik Skubal, getting set to pitch against Minnesota here tonight.
And Skubal has all the tools necessary to be one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. That elevated four-seamer, the top of the zone, really sets up the off-speed, the changeup specifically. That combination is absolutely devastating to hitters. There's that four-seamer at the top of the zone paired up with this changeup right here. Very difficult for a hitter to decipher. You're late on the fastball, and then you're way earlier on the changeup because they look exactly the same. That's a combination that he needs to exploit, he needs to execute if he wants to be successful. Occasionally, he'll make a decision to throw the slider. He leaves it out of the place, and that risk pitch, you see the changeup playing. You will see hitters also sit on his fastball. The Oakland A's did a pretty good job of that, and when they got the fastball, they did not miss it, but those are earned, right? That's good hitting, not necessarily bad pitching. So last start, Keats, it's not that he pitched bad, but he made some decisions that perhaps were not optimal, and the Oakland A's took advantage of it.
Gave up a couple of home runs to the Oakland A's in that the second start. The record for most strikeouts through the first 75 games in Tigers history now belongs to Tarik Skubal. More than Mickey Lolich, more than Denny McClain, more than Justin Verlander. Meanwhile, Pablo Lopez gets the ball for the Minnesota Twins, and he's among the better pitchers in baseball. The Tigers saw him twice last year. He pitched 13 innings against them, struck out 18 in those 13 innings, Carlos.
Yeah, Pablo also has a very impressive arsenal. He utilizes the fastballs. You're going to see a lot of fastballs inside. He likes to locate the fastball in the inner part of the strike zone. As a matter of fact, he's one of the pitchers in all of baseball that go in there most effectively. Now, hitters, if you're going to hit them, you're going to have to pick it out and say, you know what, I'm going to sit on the inside heater and be ready for it, get the head out.
Pablo Lopez last night, as we understand it, organized a bingo night for his teammates. They're staying at a suburban hotel, and of course the game was canceled very early in the day, and those are the kinds of things that can sort of stick with a team, just keeping all the guys together on a night when you know you're not going to play baseball. It was determined early in the day that it was going to be untenable for the Tigers and the Twins to play last night. That's
leadership right there. I mean, the logistics, just to pull down and put together a bingo night that quickly, hats off to Pablo Lopez. That's the leader right there.
All right, who do you like in the American League Central? I mean, we're only 20 minutes into this season, but it's a very interesting division, and I think around baseball, it's a little surprising.
Yes, I mean, I think now the division is better than we thought. When you see the Kansas City Royals improving and you see it out on the field and see the way they play between the lines, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, the Guardians have always impressed here as of late. They figure out a way to just win. But I keep on saying, and I know we have to be, let's say, modest with predictions when it comes to the Tigers.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, come on, man. I mean, these guys look really good. I'm saying the Tigers take the Central.
All right, Tigers looking to make it 2 in a row. They beat the Pirates in Pittsburgh on Tuesday, and then have had to wait through Wednesday and Thursday to finally play on Friday, and play they shall. The first pitches from Tarik Skubal are right around the corner. You'll be joined by Jason Benetti and Dan Petrie for the call of this one coming up on Valley Sports Detroit.
Tigers baseball is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. By your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Rally House Detroit. Your city, your house. Rally House. So look, you play like, I don't know, 50 hands of euchre, and then you come out and you play baseball, right? It's 53 degrees, it's cloudy, it looks a little bit like Gotham City, and it's gusting to 48 miles an hour, which is insanity. How does that feel to pitch in, Dan Petrie?
Well, I'll tell you, at times that can get a little rough. The ball can get a little slick on your fingers when it's that windy, but sometimes you're sheltered out there just because of the height of the stands, so hopefully it won't affect the pitchers too much.
So you're saying, give me shelter, is what you're saying?
Give me shelter. There you go.
A little guitar riff while you're out there on the mound, too. Look, when you know that about the wind, though, and you have fielders behind you, would you make an effort to get more ground balls today? Like, how does the wind affect how you pitch guys, or is it zero?
Yeah, I don't think that you take into consideration that at all. You know, the first thing I remember pitcher, you know, you'd go and you'd look at the flag just because of, you know, is there a good chance of the ball leaving the yard? But I mean, you have to stay within what you do best. And Tarek Skubal gets a lot of ground balls anyway, but you know, I don't know that he's going to get away from anything that he does normally just because the wind is blowing.
But yeah, we will see how it affects this outfield, which, as we've talked about, has been a very strong outfield for A.J. Hinch. And this Minnesota Twins team, it's a really interesting group because we've known Minnesota as a powerhouse offensive club, right?
Yeah.
And they just have not done that so far this year. And you kind of worry, like, are they going to starting today?
And you know that eventually they are, but, you know, again, just in the cold weather, it is difficult to hit, and especially when you're going up a guy that's throwing as hard as Tarek Skubal does. That's uncomfortable, and he's facing 8 out of 9 right-handed hitting batters. So that ball on the inside and off the plate, that's going to be miserable for those hitters.
And you guys just like making it miserable, don't you, you pitchers?
That's correct.
You said miserable with like a smile on your face, and I like it.
Yeah, I know, but they make it, hitters make it miserable on us.
All right, here's the Minnesota Twins batting order for Rocco Baldelli, presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. And look, to your point and all of our points about this Minnesota offense, you just don't see the big home run totals. 3 for Julian in the 9th spot in the order. He's the lone lefty that you were talking about. Correa's got one, Margot has one. Kirilloff is not in the lineup. Wallner is not in the lineup. A couple of left-handed power bats available later on for Rocco Baldelli against the 27-year-old left-hander out of Arizona by way of Seattle U. Our wall side windows starting pitcher is Tarek Skubal.
And Tarek's coming off a little bit of a disappointing outing for him, allowing 4 runs in that 6 1/3 innings pitched. He continues to pound the strike zone, though, with that mid to upper 90s fastball, and goes along with that wipeout changeup. Has allowed just the 2 walks and 15 strikeouts so far this year.
And the defense behind him. Tigers starting defense brought to you by Marygrove Awnings. A.J. Hinch has talked about wanting Riley Green in left field with the left-handed arm. He's in left, at least when he can do that. You see the infield that you're used to. And then Jake Rogers is catching today for Tarek Skubal. It took about an hour 5 for us to get underway. And Skubal's first pitch is hit in the air and foul. You know how when pilots say after a slight delay, thank you for your patience, and we'll try to make up the time in the air? That's what Skubal does, right?
And Margot, too, is just saying, I'm swinging, too.
That's right.
You know, I've been waiting around just as long. So first couple of pitches, there you go. He's swinging at the first 2.
He is the perfect guy to, quote-unquote, make up the time in the air, Tarek Skubal. Never really a pitch timer violation waiting to happen, as Margot in his first year with Minnesota leads off the 29-year-old former Padre and former Tampa Bay Ray. First base side and right at Torque. That's your first out tonight through the rain.
Yeah, good start for Tarek again, just coming right after him with the fastball. He establishes that first and then knows that he's still got, you know, he's ahead in the count 1 and 2, and then comes back with that little changeup, little, you know, soft line drive right off the end of the bat.
You were talking about that changeup as Correa stands in. I don't know how you prepare for that if you're a hitter. I don't know what you do with that pitch when it's well located.
And I don't think that you can go up there looking for it either, and that's why there's such uncomfortable swings. You know, you have to go up there and hope that you get a fastball and hope that you don't miss it. And if you miss it, then you're going, uh-oh, now what? You know, is he going to go away? Is he going to come in? Is he going to throw the change? And he does. He still has a good slider.
On 0-2 off that last changeup, and it's Correa sparking it foul. Then he reaches back for 99.
99 in this kind of weather. I mean, now, again, he's got 7 days rest, so he's going to be good and strong, and he's pumped up just because of, you know, how angry he was just with the way that the game got away from him on opening day. So you know he's pumped up to be back out there.
Well, and you know that part of that is about length, right? Like he wants to go longer in games.
He does. I think he's obsessed with that. You know, he thinks that that's going to make him a complete pitcher.
That is the word, though, for Tarik Skubal. He has been obsessed with mechanics. He's been obsessed with designing pitches. He's been obsessed with watching batters' reactions, and you pile all those up and you get somebody who is truly a Cy Young candidate and is right back on 0-2, and
wow.
He thought that he had squeezed strike 3 out. So did Rogers, and the plate umpire, Floridian Adam Beck, said no.
Yeah, that's one of the sliders, but he tries to backdoor Correa, boy, and Jake Rogers, man, that looked better than it actually was just off the plate, but he made it look awfully good.
He really deadened that thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
There is Adam Beck, the plate umpire. One of the relatively newer umpires in Major League Baseball. And the 2-2. In the air, first base side, Spencer Torkelson has both outs so far for Skubal. So 2 down. The gusts are upwards of 45 to 50 today, and StatCast is showing you that's not laser tag. That's what the wind is doing above Comerica Park. Red is hard and gusty.
And because of the wind, the fireworks were canceled, and that's what that looks like, is fireworks going off in every different direction. And that's the way the flag is. The flag's out. It's going to left. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's a very confused flag right now. The fireworks could not happen because half of them would have ended up in Novi because of the wind, as it's a ball and a strike on Byron Buxton, who the Twins' fortunes are so tied to, right? You know, the injury last year, past couple of years, 85 games last season. He's back in center field now, Dan.
Yeah, and you know, he's one of those guys that you love to watch play too, just because of how he can impact a game, not only in center field, on the bases, and at the plate.
Well, for Tarik Skubal, that was quick work. 0-2, strike 3 at 100 miles an hour, and no chance for Minnesota here in the first inning. Your thoughts, Tarik? Just a day that ends in Y. The innings are snack time for Tarik Skubal here at Comerica Park. He's just chomping.
Keep strong.
I mean,
fuel the body.
Right, that's right. There's nothing more relatable than like finishing your job and then just wanting food. Tigers batting order presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. This is home runs. Top of the card, Riley Green today. Then Canna's got a couple, as well as both of these teams try to unshackle their power so far in this 2024 season. We haven't seen a ton of it yet from the Tigers, although Riley Green has. And Pablo Lopez is the opposition today, Peaches.
Yeah, and Lopez relies on that four-seam fastball, which averages right around 95 miles an hour. Will throw a sinker also. Likes to throw sweepers to right-handers, change-ups to lefties, and will mix in a curveball as well. Very good, just all-around arsenal for Pablo Lopez.
It was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, in May of 2022, when he was experimenting in the Angels bullpen, and he said, well, to Pete Mackey, the pitching coach, then he said, I want to learn this sweeper. I want to do it right, and it has really changed his career. 2 balls and a strike.
And I think that's the thing about guys that you keep hearing them want to get better. And that's what, and he's a very intelligent and studious guy, Pablo Lopez, and says, okay, what can make me better? And how can I get better? And they talk about just always when you talk about getting better, but how are you going to do that? And you say, okay, is it my four-seam fastball is good? What can I throw off of the four-seam fastball to make both of them even better?
There's a 2-2 curveball for strike 3 and one away from Lopez. It was last May that he was working on that in year 1 with Minnesota, and boy, has he been a different pitcher.
Yeah, see, again, you can see it's like a knuckle curve. You can see the finger up and look at the spin. It almost looks like it's going away from Riley also. Yeah, it's like 12-6, but it's almost like it's going away, down and away from him.
It doesn't feel like a little bit like a screwball the way that thing moves.
That's
like a little bit
with the downward action.
Ball 1 to Mark Canha, who leads off in terms of hit by pitches across Major League Baseball over the past bunch of years as he checks his swing there, and it's 2-0 for Canha. 129 plunkings for Mark Canha, third active in Major League Baseball. Called a strike, and Tarek Skubal's like, okay, well, maybe if you could give me that.
Yeah, Mark Canha just had a strange look on his face, like, no.
Maybe yes. Deep to left field. Martin back at the track and the wall. And Mark Canha gives the Tigers an early 1-0 lead.
Boy, I love this. I'm not going to give you a chance to call this one for a strike. You see that starting to come in, pulls his hands in, gets the barrel right to the ball, and get it up in that wind and see how far it can go.
Love the split screen with the pizza celebration, by the way. Canha has let her eat now 3 times so far this year, and stow those in a nice place. Evidently, it just goes right in the bat rack.
Next up,
spear rack. Ball and a strike on Torkelson. But look, Mark Canha, AJ Hinch said it early in spring training. He was like, look, we want Mark to be the best player that he can be. He's not here to necessarily be a mentor to people. He's here to play. And he's been a really important, is this foul ball? It's a foul ball wide of first. He's been important to an offense that has struggled out of the gate. He certainly has not.
No, I just like the professionalism in his at-bats. I mean, we've seen him just in a situation like that where he's ahead in the count 2-1. He says, you know what, Pablo Lopez throws a lot of fastballs. I'm going to get a fastball in this situation. I'm going to look for it. He didn't miss it, but he's going to take a big swing at it. There's other situations where there's 2 strikes on him. He shortens up and will go with the pitch. He'll poke it into right for a base hit, whatever the situation calls for.
That's called strike 3. It's a high curveball. Torque didn't love it, but it did look like it had a bit of the zone.
This is what makes Pablo Lopez kind of tough here too, because he likes to throw that four-seam fastball at the top of the zone. Spencer Torkelson sees that up and he said, okay, here comes a fastball, and probably gave up on it, and then it just caught the top of that strike zone.
Yeah, that's a pitch that you're probably not going to do a whole lot with, right?
And again, it looks like it's probably starting over your head.
Right.
And you're saying, you know what, I can't swing at a fastball that's elevated. I've got to leave that one alone. He's got to come down with it, and then the curveball, the spin to it, just drops it right in.
You know, it's so interesting. The way you put that is so important, because when we watch the game on television and we see the center field camera, we see the pitch that has been thrown, but batters sometimes, as they watch the pitch out of the hand, they're seeing a totally different pitch because of tunneling, right?
Right. And they have their game plan, and it's like, okay, I have to set a floor and a ceiling. In other words, you know, if a pitch is up here, I've got to let it go, and if it's a pitch down, I've got to let that go because that's his breaking stuff. And somewhere in between is what I'm looking for, and that one just started too high for Spencer Torkelson.
1-2 to Kerry Carpenter. In the air, center field. Buxton charging, breaks it down and watches it bounce. There was a time in his career that Byron Buxton might have gone headlong for that baseball, but this is discretion is the better part of valor here.
Yeah, you're right. They're trying to do everything they can to keep him healthy. And it looks like he's playing deep also on Kerry Carpenter, respecting his power, and also with that wind blowing out, thinking I better play a little bit deep, and then just couldn't quite catch up to that.
They really need him in center field. Royce Lewis, another nasty injury for Minnesota. And you mentioned the pitching injuries. They are severely hampered by pitching injuries at this point as well, Minnesota, as you see the defense playing. Colt Keith basically straight away. That's as close to illegal defense as you're going to see. Keith flares it out towards center field. That's down for a base hit. Carpenter wants third, and he is not safe.
That's Byron Buxton right there. He can affect the game in so many different ways.
So can Mark Canha. Hungry, why wait? Deep to left field, into the wind, and a 1-0 Tigers lead. All right, time now for our Xfinity high-speed pitch. Tarek Skubal ended the first inning. If you round up, it's 100. He doesn't round up, but it's the second fastest pitch of his career, 99.6. We learned, Dan, in spring training that rounding up is not really his bag, as Torque has been a busy little bee so far tonight, and there's one away.
No, it's not, but I'm going to call it 100. I know he doesn't, but I'm going to round up for him because, you know, we keep talking about all the injuries. Don't try to get that just that little bit extra to hit that triple digits. Oh. Just get it. That's good enough. We'll round up and call it 100.
Yeah, save that for October, right?
Yeah.
There was a whole discussion very early on in camp, though, right? It was like Jake Rogers weighed in, Skubal weighed in. Jackson Jobe was involved, I think, as well.
And he hit, what, 101, 102, something like that? So
he did. No rounding up there. On the ground is shortstop Javi Baez. Plucks it and throws it, and that is 3 pitches to 2 outs. Tarek Skubal, first 75 career starts. When you look in Tigers history, it's a blowout.
And I saw that graphic, and I was blown away by it.
Right?
I mean, yeah, that's impressive. Look at the names on there. I mean, that's 4 that behind it in Tiger history. I mean, that's saying something.
Especially for such a self-made guy in Tarek Skubal, you know, not highly recruited into college, Seattle University, and he shows up at the major league level. He kind of learns himself. He gets injured. He comes back from that, and he's like pitching bot now.
He's developing. He's developed in the short time that he's been in the major leagues. Came up and was a fastball slider guy, and then, you know, now has developed that really good changeup. But all that time, he's just continued to rack up the strikeouts, but now getting the strikeouts, but also a good pitcher.
Which means what specifically as you watch him? Like, as you've watched him through the years, what changes in that department?
Yeah, I think it's just instead of trying to be overpowering, I'm going to throw this harder. I'm going to throw this by you. Now I'm going to set those pitches up.
To shortstop, Javi Baez plunges on top of it and throws out Farmer. That is Farmer refuted. What a play.
That good defense continues for the Tigers.
Welcome everybody back into Comerica Park, where the Tigers have an early 1-0 lead. And while yesterday's game got scrapped in the rain, the Twins did not let the rain get them down. In tonight's Miller Lite Report, starting pitcher Pablo Lopez, he held a bingo night at the team hotel last night. He came up with the idea, planned it before the trip when he saw there was bad weather in the forecast, and ordered all of the bingo supplies. So he used the ballroom at the hotel, and almost the entire team, coaches and staff were there. Supposedly the competition really came out, guys shouting, "Come on, B5, B17, help me out." And one of the winners, supposedly it was manager Rocco Baldelli. would have loved to be a fly on the wall, and I could see Jason Benetti really getting into a good game of bingo.
Yeah, the problem is I would complain about the rules. What a play by Correa here, by the way. We'll double back to Natalie in a second. That's a great play.
Well, it's just, you know, Javi Baez, Carlos Correa says, you know what, I'll one-up you, you know, and he does his own little bit of highlight reel defense.
Very well done by Correa. Natalie, yeah, I don't know that I would have been invited to bingo night, but here are some of the pictures of calling bingo in the hotel ballroom. That's awesome. You ever play bingo?
I am a big bingo fan, and sometimes I hate to admit it, but no, bingo and Keno.
Okay.
It must be the, you know, the numbers. I don't know, but I
You a big numbers guy?
Yeah, well, you know. But obviously, there's nothing to be ashamed of. The Minnesota Twins do it. Rocco Baldelli and Pablo Lopez. So I'm proud to say I'm a bingo player.
Check swing, strike three, 2 away. Natalie, do we have any idea who else won?
There were quite a few rounds, supposedly. I mean, this went on for quite a few hours. Chris Paddock, Christian Vazquez, and Yohan Duran. So there was like 4 or 5 different rounds, and then Rocco Baldelli in there, of course. So it got pretty rowdy. I would have loved to just be a fly on the wall sitting in that room with guys shouting. I guess it was like a group of little kids. You take the baseball out of these guys, and the competition factor, it's still there. It doesn't go away.
I just think, too, that you've got the whole team involved, though. You know, it's not a players only. I mean, you've got the manager of your team in there. You know, that's getting everybody involved.
I do wonder what you're most competitive at, Dan. Like, what game do you get most angry about? Mine's pick the stick.
It is, and I'm not far behind you on pick the stick.
You're doing great, though.
I'm -1 already. That'll tell you. See,
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Like cribbage, like what are we talking about? Darts?
No, I think it's
foosball.
I think it's about everything.
Really?
I do. I mean, you know, you just work with Kirk Gibson. He's the same way. I don't care what it is. I mean, just it's some kind of game. You're going to be competitive at it.
It's 3-1 on Javi Baez here. So now, you know, he hasn't walked so far this year. 3-1. You're expecting fastball. What's this look like?
You're expecting it, but will he throw that sweeper thinking that he might be able to get Javi to chase?
Little cue shot and a foul ball. It was a fastball, 3-2.
Yeah, and you saw Jeffers just sitting up right down the middle, too. Just 3-1. Go ahead and challenge him. And he did.
Jake Rogers on deck. Pop foul back toward our booth. I was talking about that sweeper that he made last year. It was in Anaheim with Pete Mackey, the pitching coach. I said 2 years. It was last year in his first year with Minnesota. He was trying to kind of overthrow that thing. And they did want more power and more dominance from it. And there is the perfect example of what they want that sweeper to be.
You knew it was going to come eventually.
Mobile coverage cam, and it's Javi Baez.
Yeah, here's Javi Baez ending the second inning for Tarek Skubal. You look at him, he's reaching in there, keeping his hand warm, reaching for a handful of sunflower seeds, gets up, fires it over there, and then gets rid of the seeds right after. So I got to make some more room as he's just spitting them out right after he makes that great play.
If he were in college, he'd have an NIL deal right now.
For David and Sons?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, look, they are very tasty. However, when you have to go to work, you're welcome to spit them out.
And it is. There's nothing better, especially in a warm summer day. Let's talk about standing out there and having a mouthful of sunflower seeds, and whether it's at the plate or in the field. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the game of baseball.
Austin Martin hits this ball in the air, former first-round pick, flies it to right, and you see the route that Canna took because of the wind here. I mean, this is a Michigan left.
Yeah, this starts off routine. I got it. It's no problem. Uh-oh, it's up in that wind. Look at that. Has to go over about 3 steps from where he originally thought that ball was going to land, and that was from that graphic. That wind gets up high, it's going to do some tricks on that ball.
Yeah, I'm glad we showed that earlier, because you're right. When it gets up in that stratosphere, and you talked about it, right? When it gets above the stands.
Above the stands, right.
His route almost became one of those like New Jersey jug handle turns, right? You ever drive in New Jersey, you have to like go all the way around to come back to go the other direction?
I've driven in New York, so it must have been the same in right on the border of New Jersey.
You don't have to agree with me. I could just be
I've
lying.
done that one time, because I remember you talk about competitiveness.
Yeah.
I was pretty angry.
Were you?
Yeah, because I couldn't go around. I was going in the wrong direction anyway.
The ground is short. Javi Baez, Sunflower Seed spokesman, has outnumbered 2. Time now for Chevrolet's strongest player, and it is the Tigers defense. This is defensive runs saved starting tonight, and it might be at 13 after what we've seen so far.
And you know, we've seen good plays in the infield, good plays in the outfield, so it's overall team defense. Casey Mize made a nice play covering first base on a little bit of an errant throw. So it's a pitcher's best friend, and it was a point of emphasis for Scott Harris and his staff to make sure that they went out and put a good defensive team on the field.
Credit to Colt Keith, by the way, for being a part of this defense. He worked his tail off in spring training.
And don't you think he looks comfortable now?
Yes.
I mean, I think that was all the focus was on him, and I think he's proven that he's comfortable at second base, and I also think it's starting to show transfer over to the plate too. He's saying, you know what, I don't have anything to worry about defensively now. I can just go up there and swing the bat. Ooh, that'll get your attention.
Yeah, Edward nearly just got julienned. You saw on the Valley Bar, +2 outs above average, 2 defensive runs saved, and even starting a double play here.
And you see just the calmness at which he did that. You know, there's no, jitteriness, or anxiousness.
Oof.
Boy, how about that? Up and in by your lips, and then go out there and just, paint on the outside part of the plate. Wow.
You pitchers are evil. No comment. 2-2.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Tarek's wondering, oh, man, I got to have that. Watch where Jake Rogers gets that ball, maybe just below, but boy, Jake brings that ball up, and it looks like it's thigh high when he's done with it.
3-2. Fouled away by Julian, who had a really nice offensive season last year. Julian did. He
had a real good swing right there too on a 3-2. He missed it, so now Tarek's got him right where he wants him. Get that strikeout right here.
On the ground, Baez to the backhand. He's not going to get him. First base runner for Minnesota, and Skubal probably thinks he should never have existed. It's a 2-out single.
Yeah, Javi goes over there to the right-hand side, comes up with it cleanly, just in that transfer, just juggles it slightly. It's going to be a close play at first base. Yeah, it shouldn't be on. Yep, it's the hardest thing.
I couldn't exactly see what he was saying, but I have an inkling that if I repeated it, there'd probably be somebody else here for the 4th inning.
It wasn't asking him out for dinner, right?
It was not. No. Unless he said that he really likes duck for dinner. It's a ball and a strike on Margot. I don't know that I'd want to face testy Tarek. When there's a little extra motivation, he seems even scarier to deal with.
He is. I mean, he's got that bull in China shop, kind of attitude.
Quickly home 2-1. Again, neighboring the zone. Again, he missed. It's 3-1.
Giving him a steady diet of those fastballs on the inside part of the plate.
Now Tarek is asking Beck where it's at. 3-1. Strike. That's where it's at.
Boy, look at that. That'll tell you the confidence that he's got. This is a 3-1 changeup, and he's not afraid to do that with a runner on first. A couple of outs. He's saying, I can throw that at any pitch at any time. A lot of times they do double up. Let's see what Tarek tries to come back with right here.
Oh, he did. He tried to, and he missed downstairs. Margot had the willpower to make it first and second with 2 out. And now you have Carlos Correa, who's had a very strong start to this year at 11 for 35. And here comes Fett.
Yeah, and you know why that is. He's going out there just to calm him down, saying, okay, you got 2 outs. I'm going to give you a little bit of a breather and just collect your emotions again. I mean, you want a guy out there that's, pitches with the high intensity, but you can't let it, again, try to overthrow and try to throw too hard. Now, this is where you get back to pitching instead of throwing.
Oh, see, if you're reading lips again, the closed captioning probably not going to help you on that, but
no, he covered his mouth with that.
For part of it, he's still not over it, Dan. How do you get, as a pitching coach, how do you get somebody over it?
Well, I mean, you're doing your best that you can to go out there, and he knows, Vetter knows him great, knows what buttons to push, and was trying to do whatever he could to get him settled down. And I'm sure now, after that, he goes, okay, I've had my say, and Jake probably chimed in too, saying, yeah, I thought they were good pitches too. Now it's just getting back to work.
First pitch, strike on a curveball.
See, and that's probably his 4th best pitch, that curveball. So that'll tell you, he just says, you know what, I can steal a strike here. I'm not going to rear back and try to throw this 100. I'm just going to drop that little dewdrop curveball in there for strike 1.
That's only the 5th curveball he's thrown all year, and then he throws a changeup, and good luck.
Yeah, you see that 77-mile-an-hour curveball, so you haven't seen a fastball. You say, okay, he's coming back with that fastball now, and then just pulls the shoot on that changeup.
0-2 is down. He laid off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Okay, curveball, changeup. Where's his mind now?
I was just going to say before that, just Jake Rogers saying, hey, nice spot. It's 0-2, and he missed with it down. Anything he wants to get Carlos Correa to chase. You know what? I think he might be able to get up. And also, he jammed him the first time where he hit that weak pop-up to first base. So he might be able to get inside with that sinker. But again, he's still 1-2, so ahead in the count.
Got him, strike 3. Thank God, he said, if I'm reading lips properly. That one I could share. Tarek got his strikeout. See ya. Sequence with Tarek Skubal. Carlos Correa checked to swing and kind of reached for his side. Watch here, Dan.
Yeah, trying to get out there, and boy, it just looked so innocent. Just a little check swing, and in this cold weather goes in there. That's the last thing the Twins need, is one of the guys that has been off to a good start for this Minnesota Twins offense.
So now Willie Castro, former Tiger, who has said he wants to get to 40 stolen bases, is in the game at shortstop and a straight switch. But yeah, part of the reason, and this wasn't in the injury history, obviously the side was not the reason that Correa went on that, tour of free agency. But that was some of the worry across baseball, was the injury history. And now this pops up and it's like, wow.
Again, boy, I mean, to see one of the best players in the game, too, and the guy that you want to see play, to come down with that injury. And we'll just have to follow it the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, with 2 games tomorrow as well.
Yeah. And just, again, off to that really good start for this Twins offense.
And, you know, this is not meant to be disparaging to the rest of the offense, but they don't have a whole lot of guys off to great starts at this point.
No, and Willie Castro, I mean, he's been the super utility player for the Twins, but he's been playing a lot of outfield. He started playing the outfield when he was here in Detroit. A.J. Hinch said, hey, man, this is a good place for you. He loves playing center field, but he's off to just a terrible start at the plate.
Yeah, Correa, coming in, as we mentioned, he's got 11 hits, couple of doubles, a home run. He's also walked 8 times to lead the team, so you take a whole lot of tools out of that lineup. To third, and right at Farmer. One down for Riley Green, who, as we saw a couple of years ago, has been a leadoff hitter in the past, and A.J. Hinch was very clear. The one time I get him to lead off is the first inning, and the rest is just because we want him to get as many at-bats as possible.
Exactly. And Riley just, I think, just says, I want to play baseball. I don't care where you put me in the lineup.
I asked Riley before the game, like, were you a leadoff hitter growing up? He said, yeah, basically all the way through, you know, high school. As a teenager, he had been the leadoff hitter. So my next question was, did you steal a ton of bases? He goes, no, I just hit homers, which is great.
But he can surprise you too, and
yes,
he'll steal some bases. He might be one of the ones that they want to be a little bit careful with running the bases and stealing just because of his injury history.
It's just you know, the leadoff spot is now reserved for, we want the at-bats. We've seen Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot. We've seen power hitters over and over across the league. So it's not your typical base stealer. He just happens to have that tool as well if you want him to. As there's a changeup for a strike, 2-2.
Boy, that's a tough pitch there. Again, you're thinking that Lopez throws a lot of fastballs. You're going to get one up in the count, 2-1. And drops that changeup, which has really good movement on it. Talk about Tarek Skubal's changeup. That's a really good changeup out of Pablo Lopez, going down and away from the left-handed hitter.
See what he does with that sweeper in 2-strike counts. That's across this year. The changeup is more likely against left-handers. Just overall, as the 2-2 is a sweeper inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nice take by Riley Green, who, Dan, has now seen 11 pitches in 2 trips to the plate.
And see if he tunnels that fastball off of that. You see a lot of hitters.
He went changeup, and he got Riley to roll over to Julian for out number 2. Downstairs, Natalie Kerwin.
Yeah, you guys, let's update the FanDuel Sportsbook same-game parlay. So Mark Canha, he didn't just get a hit. He took it a step up and homered it to give the Tigers a 1-0 lead. So we can check that off the list. Parker Meadows, he still has some work to do. And Gio Urshela needs to come through with an RBI. And as always, in-game live odds are available on FanDuel.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Appreciate it. Here is Mark Canha, who's provided the only offense so far for the Tigers and the Twins. In case you missed it, here it is again.
Yeah, he wasn't holding anything back either on that last swing, but he gets a 2-1 fastball just above the belt and puts that. Keep talking about putting an A swing. That was an A swing.
Big numbers in 9 at-bats against Pablo Lopez for his career. And that's sort of what A.J. Hinch is looking for. If you have a pitch you can do damage on, do that damage.
Exactly. You're looking for a pitch in a certain spot, and when you get it, because you're not going to get it very often, you've got to take advantage. And let's just watch the difference in those swings between the home run and the first pitch of the at-bat. Now that he's got 2 strikes, see if he shortens up, just tries to get a piece of it, work the count deeper, get Pablo Lopez to throw more pitches. See that changeup, right on right also, so he's not afraid to throw it to the same side, not just to left-handers.
One and two from the former Marlin Pablo Lopez to Mark Canha. Check swing. He did not go. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That was the rare trade that I think both teams felt really good about after it happened. Lopez to Minnesota, Luis Arraez to Miami.
And it paid off for both teams too. You know, Arraez leading the Marlins to the playoffs and in hitting.
Willie Castro from the grass. Okay. Nice play.
It was, and that was on purpose, that bounce.
Castro in for Correa. Strong play. Head-to-head against the defending world champion Texas Rangers this Monday through Thursday. You can go bananas at Comerica Park. To get your seats today, visit tigers.com/tickets. Foul ball for strike 1. I didn't know it was Halloween tonight. I looked down at the screen and it looked like it was a costume party.
With the banana, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Have you ever dressed up at a baseball game in a costume?
I impersonated a baseball player for a number of years.
Zing. I mean, there's Alan Trammell in Tiger form. Love it. Full Tiger outfit. If you're going to go for it, you might as well go for it, right? Go for it in full. And then dance your heart out.
And stay warm, absolutely. I mean, that's a little Winnie the Pooh, isn't it?
A little Tigger?
Tigger, yeah.
Ooh, called a strike. The wonderful thing about strike 2 is that it might have been outside.
Boy, you see Derek giving him a look, giving a long look too, like, all right, that's better. Buxton Newton, okay, I'm not going to say anything.
Kind of have to swing here, don't you?
Yeah,
it's close.
You know.
3-2. Fouled away, a big rip. And Tarek's not dumb. He went right back
there.
in
the same spot, exactly. You know, and didn't want to just, you know, make it a ball off the outside corner. Doesn't want to play too much, but went right back just on that outside corner.
3-2 foul ball off a slider.
Yeah, he's trying to catch that outside corner, thinking that Buxton may give up on it, saying, okay, that one's starting about 6 inches off the plate. Okay, he's just thrown 2 fastballs out there. I'm going to let that one go, but it started to come over the plate, and Buxton got a piece of it.
Fouled away. He came inside with a fastball. Is that a setup for a changeup here?
Well, it could be, but see, that's the thing we were talking about, just not throwing out there. He's pitching. You know, he's going outside with a couple of different fastballs, then tries to backdoor him with the slider, then comes in.
He went to the high fastball, fouled away, so he's thrown him just about everything he can here.
And you sometimes talk about, you know, he's not quite catching up to my fastball. Am I doing him a favor by slowing it up?
Yeah.
You know, but the changeup is just, it's such a good pitch that if he did go to it, he probably would be way out in front. Oh, boy.
Oh, he absolutely painted him. Get out of here.
And again, he's just so confident with a full count, goes to that changeup right at the bottom of the zone. And just Jake Rogers, again, look at him pull that pitch up. Just gets it right there at the knees and then pulls it up. But just love the confidence in him throwing that pitch at any count.
Especially in a 10-pitch at bat to end one of those confrontations.
And not giving in. That's not giving in to the hitter saying, okay, I'm tired. I don't want to throw that many pitches and get my pitch count up. Let's just see what happens. I'll just challenge you with a fastball.
Yep.
Nope. You know what? I can throw that pitch for a strike, and he just showed that he could.
Such a clever choice as Ryan Jeffers hits this ball to the air to right field. Canna in the corner, and he watches it fly just foul. I mean,
wow.
Just foul by half a panel down there.
Boy, you see the fans down there situated right by the pole, and that's how you just saw it. Just, oh my goodness, you know, where you can see the ball pass in front of the pole and the fans to the right of the pole reaching up and trying to catch that. You
got to be really ready over there, by the way. That is That is not a place you expect to get a foul ball directly at you into your slicker. See, you get your arms caught in the raincoat.
Oh, that went right through.
Oh, he yelled ball pretty loudly, and now this is just a battle for the outside corner here.
And Terry didn't show as much motion that time.
No, that was
just
out.
Went, okay, okay. We won't get into that.
Check swing foul. To your point about the raincoat, it went straight through.
It went, just boom. Yeah, I mean, it's what, 330 down there. It's got some force behind it, right?
It does. You never know when you become a character of the ballpark. See what the wind does this time. Canna veering in to make the catch for round number 2, and now a message from Rally House.
Play ball, Michigan. Shop the latest in Tiger style with your favorite brands and throwback designs. Rally House has gear for every fan.
Natalie Kerwin downstairs, Dan Petrie, Jason Benetti, our entire wonderful crew here at Comerica Park as Tarek Skubal has a 1-0 lead with 2 out in the 4th, and he lands a first pitch middle changeup to just up from AAA St. Paul, Jose Miranda.
And he's a guy that, it looked like he was going to be a star after that year he had in 2022. And then just had one of those years last year. Now he's trying to get back up to the player that the Twins think they have in Jose Miranda.
They could use some more power in that lineup. That's the reason he's up here.
I know he was hitting a lot of balls to the right side when he was going good. He was hitting the ball the other way, staying right behind the ball and shooting it the other way. He did that a lot with the Tigers.
These are two very pull-heavy teams, the Tigers and Twins, early on in the year, as this is a high fly ball foul first base side and out of play. You can't give up on baseballs here tonight, though, because you never know if the wind's going to wave it back to you.
There's a few empty seats around, too. If it does not get hit directly to you, you're going to have to leap over some chairs and scramble with a few other people.
2-2 coming. First base side and foul once again. So the pitch count rising for Skubal here, as you saw off the Bally bar. He's at 69 pitches because of all these foul balls.
And I think, there's always that one inning that, or two that gets that pitch count up, and that's where Tarek going for, not going for the strikeouts, but because he's such a high strikeout pitcher, that gets that pitch count up. I'm sure that he would take a lot of easy outs and just let somebody go 1 or 2 pitches to keep that pitch count down, but that's just not the way he pitches.
To short, Javi Baez claims it, plants and throws, and Torque has to battle with it, and in fact safe over at first base. So Miranda ends up hitting the ground into Torque, and let's see if the Tigers want to challenge this. Watch at the bag here. Does Torque stop the bag? It looks like so. Does he have the bag with his right foot is the question.
Looked like his toe was right on top of the bag.
This will tell the tale here, I would imagine.
Missed it, yep.
The Tigers are going to challenge here.
Detroit is challenging the out call.
Yeah, does he have it back there, and does he have it with the second? Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, I was just going to say too. I mean, he doesn't tag him, does he? That angle you can't see, but does his glove? No.
No, that's going to be a no, right?
It sure looks like he's safe.
Or did he kick? Might he have kicked it on the way by? That would be a tough sell, though.
It seemed like it drug over the top.
So here's a look into the replay room in New York City. The crowd's reacting to what we're seeing here. Hello to everybody in replay, and that really has become a machine, the way they do that. The live look at the replay room. Miranda thinks he's safe. He has claimed the bag over at first.
Boy, Miranda could have really barreled in. You see him kind of just, oh, wait a minute, and almost give up a little bit, but he could have really barreled in and hurt Torkelson.
That could have been a lot worse. You're exactly right. Oh boy.
Like he scraped the toe on that insignia on the bag. Oh my goodness.
I mean, that, does one of the spikes catch it? I don't know.
After review, the call is confirmed. The runner is safe. Detroit loses its challenge.
Yeah, that's the right call. We tried every way possible to get Torque on that bag, and he was not.
And so did New York. New York did too.
Yeah,
they looked
did.
at every possible way. You know, did he scrape it with his toe? Did his cleat catch it? Did he tag him? Did one of the foots? Yeah, I mean.
And now they can have a laugh about it over at first base. So Skubal now, after a little while away from the mound, will have to get right back on as he throws ball one to Farmer, who does not have a hit so far. 0 for 15. Two and 0. Skubal still, you kind of feel like he's in his head on where the zone is.
A little bit. You get that sense. There's a couple back-to-back right on that borderline, but he's, you know, keeping that composure. You know, he wants those pitches, especially that last one, but realize that they're probably just a tad down.
So he feeds in as good of a strike as you're going to have. 3-1 on Farmer, the former 8th rounder out of Georgia 11 years ago. Now 33-year-old Kyle Farmer. This is pitch number 30 of the inning for Tarek Skubal. And he missed. So 2 on, 2 out, and we invite you to stream every out-of-market game live or on demand. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. That looks wonderful right now.
They're having a good time out there. Nothing better than taking in a Tiger game, warming your hands right there by the fire.
That looks glorious. On the ground, Skubal captures it and ends the inning.
First pitch out is exactly what Tarek wanted in that situation.
Menards brings you the big money encounter, and it's the entire biography of Carlos Pena. We saw all the defensive highlights in the pregame, so now we have to ask if any of your buttons worked on your jersey as you're rounding.
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, that is as freewheeling of a home run trot as I've ever seen. Officially, welcome to the booth here at Comerica Park. It is so great to have you as a teammate.
Oh,
man.
truly
Yes,
a
it is.
pleasure to be among, you know, such distinguished gentlemen as yourselves.
Where do you see distinguished
Say, man,
gentlemen?
that is nice, gentlemen.
We hid them behind the backdrop. You're just happy to be here because it's warmer than the set.
100%.
And Keating's not up here.
Yeah, I hope he's listening. It's nice and warm up here, Keats. I hope you're freezing down there.
I do want to ask you, Carlos, you were down in it. The Tigers have a 1-0 lead. Dealing with the wind on a night like tonight, pop-ups to first base, things in shallow right field, how do you play that?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult, especially because you see how it's all over the place, right? So the best thing you can do is just look at the flag and say, okay, everything is going to be shifting to my right. It's going to be going over my right shoulder. And you kind of anticipate that. What you don't want to do is it catching you by surprise.
3-1, and Torque swings through a high fastball. 3-2. So look, this is Mark Canha in right field. That's not the line he wants to take.
Absolutely not. Of course, he starts going to the left. Now it shifts over to the right a lot more than he anticipated. So sometimes when the ball gets up there, it's even stronger than what you feel down at ground level. So you have to be aware of that. Did a great job adjusting.
3-2 is upstairs. Ball 4. It's a leadoff walk for Spencer Torkelson.
So what are the hitters? Now they've had a couple of days off, okay? So yeah, they came in probably yesterday because the game wasn't called right away and they were able to take some batting practice, but it's not the same as going up and facing, say, a Tarek Skubal or a Pablo Lopez. I mean, you know, you're getting your timing and everything, but now you're going up against some of the top pitchers in the game. What are they experiencing in this kind of situation?
They had some time off and then the day off, right?
Yep.
Because of the rain. So you kind of break down a little bit as far as your rhythm is concerned, especially if things are going well, right? You want to keep on playing and keep the momentum going. But you still have to come ready to hit with a plan. Strategy's key.
But how, like physically, Dan, I want to know as a pitcher, if you know guys are a little rusty, how do you deal with that? What are you doing to try to exploit that?
Well, I think too it's a little bit of a mind game too. So if you're a pitcher and you're knowing that they've had a couple days off and it's a little bit cold, you can kind of use that to your benefit to say, you know what, I'm in complete control out of here. I have the advantage over that hitter, and that's a lot of it. That's, you know, you always hear about pitchers throwing with conviction. Well, you know what? If I'm going up there and I'm saying, well, I don't know if I really want to throw a fastball, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to throw a fastball because I have the advantage. I feel that good about it. It might not be the right pitch, or you might not get the right result, but at least in your mind, you think that you are.
He didn't go 2-2 for Carpenter.
And Carpenter has been actually very good at coming through on key moments. You know, a single earlier, he didn't go. He's good.
He's good.
He's fine. But again, I mean, it's freezing out here. You've had 2 days off in a row. Carpenter came through. One of the things that I've liked about him is how he's staying through the baseball, and he's hitting these soft liners, and people are like, you got jammed. But Dan, that's actually good hitting. If he spins off that ball as a ground ball into the shifted infield, instead he hits a soft liner for a base hit. That's what 300 hitters do.
Instead of pulling off the ball, you get jammed with it, you know, to stay on it, you know, and put a good swing on it.
As a matter of fact, sometimes you would actually hit the ball harder if you pull off and kind of create space, fall backwards, get the barrel out there, you scorch it, but it's on the ground, top spinning, and they have slightly shifted you over to right field. I know the shift's not as severe as before.
No, but you still can.
Yes, and you are getting out. Yeah, you hit it hard, but you're out.
2-2, check swing. Carpenter takes 3-2, and to that point, Kerry Carpenter, half of his home runs last year were against non-fastballs. Yeah, he's a good fastball hitter. Here's that first swing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This ball jams him, and instead of pulling off that ball, he hits through it. That's the base hit. The game-winning hit against the Pirates was precisely like that.
Yep.
Up and in fastball, stays through it, base hit.
How about that? He just kind of wands the ball into right field, very short right field, so Torque hoofs it for third, and on 3-2, Kerry Carpenter just plunks it in right.
This is great hitting right here, staying through the baseball. This time it's an off-speed pitch, but he's thinking about taking that knob through the ball, and he's able to get enough of it to get it through the infield, and now the Tigers got something cooking.
That's what Kerry always talks about too, is being early, where he gets that foot down and then just keep that bat back. You know, he's looking for that fastball, especially 3-2, but then at that last minute you saw him reach his hands out there because the barrel of the bat was still in a position where he wasn't pulling off of it. If he's out there too far, he's going to pull off it, swing and miss, but that barrel was able to get out there and hit it and stroke it into center field.
You heard on Tigers Live, Kerry Carpenter, part of our interview from spring training. When we started talking about him being undervalued early on and under-recruited in his college career, he kind of got emotional. You know, he was thinking about being that guy with the quote-unquote chip on his shoulder, and that is a swing for a guy with a chip on his shoulder, just doing whatever you can to keep your job and keep the team moving.
You know, one of my favorite books that I've read as of late is called, you know, Pick Your Enemies Wisely. Right? Precisely because you want to make sure that maybe those who've doubted you in the past, you say, you know what, I'm going to use this as motivation.
Will you send me that book, please, before I get too far into my Tigers career? Pick your enemies wisely. Is that what you said it was?
You know, metaphorically speaking, you want to, you know, those who didn't believe in you, perhaps when you come into the ranks and you kind of build this story up in your mind that motivates you to go out there and do your best.
Well, anybody who watched The Last Dance knows the value of that, right? To one of the highest level athletes ever, Michael Jordan. But I heard J.J. McCarthy talk about it this college football season. So many people watched that and derived motivation from even seeing Jordan do that. The 1-1 is fouled away, 1-2. Dan, what motivated you? What made you mad other than losing at bingo?
Well, I mean, I told you it was any game. You know, it's a competition. You know, I think what motivates all of us is trying to be the best. You know, it's not just getting to the major leagues. It's getting and staying in the major leagues, and to stay there, you want to be the best. You know, you want to drive yourself to try to be the best. You may not get there, but I mean, you know, you want to strive to be the best.
Look at you frustrating all these hitters. Oh yeah.
It looked like you just charged home plate when you threw the baseball. Like, are you gonna tackle me?
You want to come at me? There's a swing and a miss, strike three. Good curveball from Lopez, one away. You know what I miss? The umpire's strike three calls from when you were pitching, Dan, because that was like a whole like punch the camera sort of thing. Like, those strike three calls were awesome.
Boy, yeah. I was trying to think of. I want to say it was one of the Runge. But they.
Like
you
Paul
know,
Runge?
Steve, but then come out and go way on the dirt on every one of them. Oh my gosh, it was classic.
That had to fire you up when
course.
you
It was
got
in
a
the
punch
National
out
League,
like this.
you know.
Watch this.
Watch.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
If he hits the catcher, he knocks him out with
Yeah.
that right hook.
That's exactly right.
I think that was in the ALCS in '84. I think it was a replacement umpire.
Oh, really?
That's why Willie Wilson was so mad. You know, he was a retired umpire. You know, so they brought him back, and of course we won the series. So I'm going to say that he did it, and all of them did a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, you love the zones for sure.
You know, but yeah, I think that's why Willie Wilson was a little upset.
Carlos, Tom Hallion was umpiring when you were playing, right?
Yes.
Tornado Tom. He has since retired, but he had a very iconic, you know, like turn and punch strike three, but it's kind of gone away from the game.
But that wasn't that bad. It was still toned down. Back
Right.
in the day, it was a little bit more aggressive. As a hitter, you probably did not appreciate it.
1-2 for Urshela. On the ground to shortstop. Castro is not going to get two. Will he get one? No, he will not. And the Tigers make it 2-0 still with just one out. That's a tough play.
Yeah, they had the infield in, the previous batter. This time they're going back for a double play, but Gio Urshela kind of tops it. It's a right to Willie Castro. He drops down. You'll see him drop down and throw this kind of sidearm. That takes and puts that tail on the ball that takes the first baseman, Santana, off the bag. If he comes right over the top, if he has enough time, the throw is a little bit straighter. It would be on the bag, and Gio Urshela would be out.
So it looks like the Twins are going to challenge this play, and it looks like it's probably going to have the same success rate as the Tigers challenge earlier. What do you guys think?
Let's take a closer look here. He's off the base. I think he's off the bag.
Does he tag him?
Now the key here is it evidence enough for the play to be overturned? I mean, right here he looks like he's clearly off the bag. As a first baseman, on those plays, you almost have to anticipate that this ball is going to go to the right. You got to come out of the baseline and just tag him. But since it was such a, you know, the shortstop is charging, maybe he did not have enough time to do so.
Where do you want to be physically? Is it like a step up the line? What are you looking at, Carlos?
Yes, you want to maybe a jab step forward, just clear the lane, catch and tag. But to Santana's benefit, or let's say we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt just because the shortstop is charging. So there's not a lot of time for you to read the baseball.
Right. And when do you know that the throw's not going to be on line, right? Is it right out of his hand?
You could see a tail.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Dan was explaining, as soon as you see a guy go down, sidearm, you are expecting either, well, most of the time is sailing, right? Like almost like a sinker. Very seldom do they throw a slider at you, but it's just not
After
the
review,
most.
the call stands. The runner is safe.
Yeah.
Minnesota loses its challenge.
Looks like the right call. So the challenges have been challenging so far. Both teams have lost a challenge, and now Parker Meadows, 2 on, 1 out. You were saying, Carlos?
Sometimes when shortstops drop down, most of the time you see a tail.
Yeah.
It's like a sinker from a pitcher. Very seldom, if someone, if a shortstop, third baseman get around it, they cut it. They throw a slider to first base, but it's the sinking action that happens most often.
When that glove, when it's up the line too, that's how you separate those shoulders. Those guys get that glove and the runner hits into it and just tears that shoulder back.
Yeah, it gets really dangerous over there, does it not?
Collisions.
What was the worst collision you were involved in over at first?
I don't remember. I had so many of them that I just don't know which one. And surely the worst one I probably wouldn't have remembered because I would have been knocked out.
Right. Yeah, thank you. As you were saying that, I was like, well, there's a chance he doesn't remember. 1-1 for Meadows.
It's like I was told about it.
People said it looked bad, but I don't think I was involved. 2 on, 1 out, 1 in. Tigers really trying to blow the doors off this game after a successful year against Minnesota last year and against the division as a whole. And these games are so important within the division considering the way the schedule is built nowadays.
You want to control your destiny. You don't want to try to get a wild card and hope that you just sneak in. You go out and you win that division. Ooh, boy.
Right under the hands.
Yeah, good swing by Parker. He knows he's going to get a fastball in the inner third of the plate, too. See him starting early, just underneath it. But you have to like that swing. That's taking a big swing like that. That's not trying to hit it the other way. That's trying to do some damage.
Ooh, he struck him out. He went right back to the fastball and 2 down.
This is just that fastball that just seems to be a little bit further up, not more down the middle, not on the inner third, but more up. And just see that four-seamer. That's that one that just doesn't quite have that same sink. It's got that ride at the top of the strike zone, Carlos.
So difficult to get on top of that. Just keeps on going up, and you swing at the baseball and you miss it by 2 inches.
What do you think you're seeing as a hitter there? Because Parker took a couple of very confident hacks.
So he's assessing speed slower than they truly are, and he's seeing the baseball lower than it truly is. It's unbelievable how it's almost like a magic trick, and you pitchers do it.
And that's why they're throwing it. Right.
Yes. I mean, we keep on swinging and missing underneath. If you're a hitter, you almost have to try to miss over the trajectory of the baseball.
Really good sweeper, 0-2. It seems so counterintuitive, but that's the way you have to think, right?
You have to, and you have to come into the game knowing that the pitcher's got that four-seamer at the top of the zone that rises, and you got to say, wherever I see it, make sure you try to miss above it.
Yeah.
You won't.
0-2 after the breaking ball. He went fastball up, and I'd imagine this is a sweeper again here.
I was going to say just a sequencing. That is, you'd think so, just coming up and in, getting Javi's attention, being inside and changing his eye level, going up.
1-2 from Lopez. Yep, strike 3. So 3 strikeouts in the inning. The Tigers do get a run. It's 2-0 after 4.
Well, we have an update from the Twins on Carlos Correa. He officially left tonight's game with a right oblique strain. It was top of the third. He took a called third strike, winced, held his side after the check swing. So we can see, guys, it is officially a right oblique strain.
That's bad news for Minnesota, certainly with their injury to Royce Lewis. They have all the pitching injuries as well. Man.
So what happens on that? I mean, you're the perfect. Did you ever do that? And I mean, it just looks so innocent, just like a little start, and then bam, just tighten up.
The oblique. I mean, it's a cold evening, but it's something that kind of nags you. It's one of those injuries that if you do not fully recover from that injury, it will nag you the whole entire year. So you have to be very careful in trying to come back too quick after you have injured the oblique.
Yeah, you see what they're dealing with. Duran, the closer, Thielbar might come back this series, possibly. But yeah, it's been a rough go for Minnesota to this point. And you folks at home are not going to believe it, but I've been talking hitting in the break with Dan Petrie and pitching in the break with Carlos Pena. It's very funny to talk to major leaguers about the opposite of what they did, but oh boy, that is a nasty, nasty changeup. And Skubal strikes out Santana. There's one away.
So this is what I'm talking about right here, Jason. I mean, this changeup right here, Carlos Santana has absolutely no chance at hitting it, and I can tell you exactly why, because I've been in the box. You know, you're expecting the fastball. This one looks like the fastball. It's tunneling off the fastball. So you swing at it like if it's a fastball. And as a hitter, that's the kind of conversation I would have with a young pitcher. It's like, let me tell you what works, what's incredibly difficult for us to hit.
So basically, like, what makes it tough on me as a hitter is what you're talking about.
So sometimes I think pitchers, you know, as they should talk to their pitching coach. But one of the best things they can do is go talk to the hitters on their team and say, what makes it difficult to hit? And I can tell you, right, when you have a fastball north of 98 miles per hour, hitting 100 a couple of times, and you tunnel the changeup off of that, it's a wrap. Forget it. I mean, you cannot cover both speeds. They look exactly the same, yet the speed differential is absolutely huge.
Dan, did you ever talk to Fred Lynn about what was difficult for him?
No, you know what? I as Carlos was saying that, I used to talk. No.
He did hit 7 homers off of you. I'm sorry.
Did he?
That's messed up. See, he doesn't even remember it. That's how
I wouldn't even have picked Fred Lynn. But,
really?
You know,
I'm sorry.
There were so many. I mean, there was countless.
We were clicking around before the game. It's my fault.
Who, you and Carlos were?
Brian Henry, but it's not Brian's fault. I did it. There's strike 3, 2 down.
And then left on left, he's got no chance on this.
Oh no, why are they doing this to you?
I never remember getting him out. I can honestly say that. You know, and then you go back and look, and I did get him out, but you know.
My God.
Well, they have a whole reel, Peaches? That's not nice.
I told you, it was. You were talking about costume. I said I impersonated a pitcher for a long time.
You were a champion.
See, you know?
No, you had a fantastic career. And
no, they showed the strike. They
career.
showed the strikeouts before.
Yeah, they did. 0-1 pitch into left field and foul.
You're just keeping me honest.
Yeah, it's all in the spirit of good fun, for the most part. At least for me, I don't know about our tape room downstairs.
Well,
they seem to have an agenda.
Carlos, you better hurry because the strikeouts are coming next for you.
I'm telling you, I was almost ready to take off my headset and walk out of here. Because I know they're working on something. I know they are.
Don't you love when a baseball game becomes a roast?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah, that's right.
A roast if we're roasting Dan. Then I won't like it if you're roasting me. No, it's all good fun. So. Trust me, I struck out plenty of times. So there's much material out there that they can pick from.
For all of us. Right. 2 balls, 2 strikes from Skubal. And it's fouled away. Well, look, you know, some people choose their friends wisely. Other people choose their friends very wisely.
Yeah.
What are you telling him right there?
I mean, Simo, man, wow. He's my brother.
It's popped up, first base side. Colt Keith runs over there. What you were saying to him was, you're going to be in the booth first, but then I'm going to join you in 2024.
Can you believe that?
That's awesome. I love it. 5 innings, 93 pitches, Dan Petrie. Tarik Skubal with a long conversation here.
Yeah, I think he's just had that long layoff too. And again, it's just early April. It's cold. He's had a couple of long innings, you know, a 30-pitch inning, a couple of 20s. And I think they're just saying, you know, we want to take care of you. We want to make sure we need you all season long.
And he clearly doesn't want to hear it.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
But, I mean, that is the kind of guy you want as your teammate. 100 out of 100.
Absolutely.
And you're setting an example for a lot of other people, too, that on that staff.
Well, there's heavy trust in this bullpen, certainly, with the way they've pitched to this point this year in protecting for 12 outs with Alex Faedo up and loosening a 2-0 Tigers lead. Now, you'd like to not always win close games. You'd like to have a blowout win here and there to help your bullpen out, especially with the stretch of games consecutively the Tigers have. 1-2 from Lopez. It's upstairs 2-2.
You know, the way the bullpen is constructed, too, with the heavy right-handed hitting lineup of the Twins, that's why they look to have Alex Faedo come in there, even though, I mean, Willie Castro, now the switch hitter, is in the game, but still, you know, you go to the right-hander instead of a Joey Wentz if it were the other way.
Yeah. Because you're down an option as well. I mean, Minnesota will go Kirilov, they'll go Wallner at some point, but that would be an invitation for Chafin or Holton from A.J. Hinch if they are near each other in the lineup. That's ball 4. Lopez loses Rogers, the 9-hitter, to lead off the 5th. All right, if the Tigers score 3 or more runs in this game, you can visit a participating Arby's location tomorrow and receive a small order of curly fries. I'm just saying, if people wanted to bring us an item or two that we could show and tell, curly fries, we'd be happy to. I mean,
that'd be nice.
It's not for the food purposes, certainly. It's just for the fans. We're doing it for the kids. We are. It's for the kids.
Boy, if I'm Greeny right here, I'm sitting dead red fastball up and in because I know I'm going to get one, at least one. There it is.
Ooh.
There it is. And if you are ready for it at the top of the zone, then when it's lower, it's easier to drop the head on it. But you know he was going to attack somewhere in this at bat with the fastball.
0-2 to Riley Green, stroke to left center field, up the alleyway, and off the wall. Here comes Rogers. No throw to the plate. Riley Green attacks, and the Tigers have a 3-0 lead.
This is a great swing by Greeny right here, staying inside this baseball, fastball down in the zone. Not the best sequence for Lopez, but Greeny takes advantage of it. And check out this run right here. You see Rogers do off of the bat. He was scoring. You have to anticipate any ball in the gap. I'm going home. He executed right there, and Greeny came up with the clutch hit.
To your point about the sequencing, it is well taken there. Odd to see back-to-back fastballs down in the zone, Dan.
And all three were almost in the same spot. He started with a changeup, and that's that one that's running over the plate. Then he surprised him with that fastball. And I thought okay, I'm going to swing it back, but he just saw 2 pitches in that same exact spot.
You know, looking at and studying sequencing, a fastball that's lower in the zone that follows a previous fastball that was higher, those get hit hard. And that was scorched.
Yeah, why is that at the second look, Carlos?
The first one kind of trains you for the second one. You know, you throw it up in the zone and it comes fast, right? And then you throw it a little bit lower. The previous pitch actually helped me hit the second pitch. Yeah. So that's why sequencing is so important.
And I always hear that you guys can't cover the entire zone, right? You can't cover inside, outside, or up and down. You have to pick a spot that you can cover. That's 3 pitches in that same spot. that you've seen two of them. If you're going to cover a spot, you want to cover that, and Riley certainly did.
And let's say, look, the changeup, okay, fine, strike one, but back-to-back fastballs, no speed differentials whatsoever.
Yeah. That's upstairs, ball four, and he's laboring. You saw Funderburg loosening up. Here are those last two pitches to Riley Green.
Yeah, here's the fastball inside. You're like, okay, this one actually is training me to hit. You just showed me your speed. Here it is again. It's pretty much the same exact tune that I'm dancing to. So you showed me the music. You showed me what music you were going to play, and then you played it for me again, and I'm going to dance nicely to it. And he was on time to hit that fastball. So great hitting by Green, but definitely not an optimal sequence for Lopez.
And just the way he drives the ball the other way. I mean, we saw him hit that double off the wall and right down the line and to left field in Pittsburgh, and then drives that one in the alley to left center. You know, we've seen him pull home runs, but just the way he kind of inside outs it or stays back and hits that ball the other way.
Yeah, that one was not necessarily way outside. It was more middle and probably slightly in.
Yeah.
And he still is able to get inside the baseball. I mean, he crushed that ball.
And that's why everybody's dancing there. But look, if the Tigers are going to go places this year, you're going to have to do damage on misses. And we haven't seen a lot of that early in the season. We've seen a pretty patient offensive club. I wonder if Torque, whose first pitch swing is well down this year, I wonder if he's thinking fastball strike.
No.
And it was a sweeper for a strike.
And that's fine. I mean, one of the difficult things about hitting is that if you're trying to cover the entire zone and all the pitches and worried about everything that he could possibly throw you, it's going to be tough. You got to sit on one pitch and commit to it.
0-1. Broken bat grounder. It's going to get through anyway. A bleeder that turned into firewood gives the Tigers a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, he starts off up with the slider and then comes back with that four-seam fastball right on the outside part of the plate, and it's off the end. You see he's got nothing left but the handle, but because the infield was swung around, playing him to pull, it's perfectly placed. You see Riley Green putting him up, taking him up, putting him down, scoring the third run for the Tigers, and knocking Pablo Lopez out of the game.
His high pitch total this year turns into a 4-0 Tigers lead. Kerry Carpenter's scheduled to bat next. 1,000 paper cuts that knocked Lopez out of the game, but there were a couple of them after some loud contact as well. The Tigers boot him from the game after 4 innings and nobody out here in the 5th. And it will be Matt Vierling to bat against this guy. Wallside Windows pitching change in just his second year in the majors. The left-hander Cody Funderburg, who is pretty fastball heavy with a slider as well.
Yeah, Cody last pitched on Wednesday and did pick up the win. And AJ, I think, just as, you know what, I'm going to go for the kill here. And that's why he's, even though it's the 5th inning, he's saying, you know, Kerry Carpenter at the plate, I'm going to still pinch hit early in the game. And Matt Vierling's been swinging it well and kind of go for the knockout punch right here in the 5th inning.
Fouled away right side, 0-2. Funderburg last year made his major league debut in pretty short time, about 10 outings, 11 of them. He gave up 1 earned run on a Cole Calhoun homer in the 10th inning of a game back in August of last year, but he's pitched well at the big league level. Vierling to right field. Margot isn't going to get there. It's an RBI single for Matt Vierling, and closing in on a kill shot, A.J. Hinch and the Tigers have a 5-0 lead.
Vierling lets this pitch travel. The slider, sees it deep, and he's able to just punch it into right field. Look, this is good hitting. We were talking about this, Dan. If you stay through the baseball, even though you do not hit the baseball with the sweet spot off the bat, you're still able to move it forward at the right trajectory and get the base hit and get the job done.
And when he's going good, he's going the other way, Matt Vierling, you know, and he can fight those pitches off. I mean, he can also spin on it. You know, it's got power to the other way. But when he's going good, he's hitting the ball to the other side.
especially on 2 strikes, right? Like, it's not like you're going to size up big damage on 0-2. There, he just punches it to right field, and the Tigers build on a lead against Minnesota.
And there again, AJ, you know, going to the bench early, and it capitalized and paid off for him.
Strike 3. I mean, the philosophy is really sound, right? You know you have bats on the bench. When you don't start somebody, yes, you're going to get fewer at bats, but you also get to choose the moment when you're going to use somebody. And to Dan's point, going for a kill shot, he said, look, I've got 2 on. I've got the situation I want. Bang, I'm going to hit the button.
A situation may not, like this, may not show up for the rest of the game. Sometimes the game is won in the 5th inning, the 4th inning, and you have to make the call. Right there, it worked out beautifully for AJ.
In pinch hitting, I'm sure you've done it several times. It's not an easy thing to do, but you're also getting a good situation. The manager's putting you in a good situation to succeed, because he says, you know what? Yeah, you got 1st and 3rd here. A left-hander's coming in. I think that, you know, you're going to get pitches to hit, and I think you can come through, and Freeling was able to do that.
Not only can you match the situation with the player, you can match the player with the guy's stuff too.
Right.
You know what he's throwing.
The scouting, the advanced scouting is so incredible nowadays that you can really play the matchup game, and you know who's got the right type of swing for the pitcher that's on the mound.
Parker Meadows takes a curveball for a strike. Cody Funderburk, to me, like 6th place in the Weird Al look-alike contest. Weird Al Yankovic.
Wow, you remember.
Get your accordion out.
Did you just show your age?
I think so.
Yes.
But doesn't he kind of like facially and the hair?
Yeah, that's a good call.
I remember the music. That's all.
You like his entire catalog. 2-strike pitch fouled away.
Goodness. Funderburk has thrown
slider.
If I was a left-handed hitter, all I'm thinking about is like, man, I'm going to sit slider. I'm just going to sit slider. I'm going to look for the shape. I'm going to make sure it starts up and just take my best swing at it.
I mean, but he's a big, tall lefty and long and lanky and coming behind you. I mean, that's a pretty good one. I think, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. But if you're looking for it,
yeah,
just made it slightly easier.
Sure.
Slightly.
It doesn't move a lot,
Slightly.
though. He threw him a fastball. Okay, so now he showed you a fastball. You still sitting slider?
I'm sitting slider.
Of course you are.
You have to pick your poison. I'm sitting slider. Oh, he threw it again.
Oh, and he just painted
you should have listened to me, Jason.
A high slider, though? You gotta expect that.
You put that in the seats. Hey, you know?
Really fun. Good to have you.
Yeah, great seeing you.
We'll see you post-game at the desk. Stay warm. Carlos Pena, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's our Comerica Bank game summary, and Tarek Skubal in his 5 innings. That wipeout changeup, the good fastball, gets in a little bit of trouble. He's throwing pitches really close. Chris Fetter goes out, calms him down, then he just starts just painting. Throws the curveball, the changeup, and just got back into pitching. Another 5 shutout innings. I know he wanted to go deep in the game, but you just keep putting up zeros, Tarek, and you'll go a long way.
Yeah, he's hoping to now have the Tigers be 3-0 in his starts as Alex Faedo is into the ball game. He didn't really know where the bottom of the zone was at points or the outside corner, but he figured it out.
And yeah, there was some times where you didn't know what the bottom or the outside where exactly it was. But you know what, Tarek did a good job of just keeping those emotions down, getting it settled back in, knowing that he's got really good stuff. He doesn't have to be overly fine. And the pitch count just got a little bit too high, and you're going to make sure to keep him healthy. Want him in that rotation all year long.
Well, and credit Chris Fetter as well for walking out at one point in the middle of that outing, as that is filthy. Faedo with that bullet slider, and one away.
Willie Castro's been having a rough start and striking out a lot, and this is why. I mean, that thing looks like a fastball coming out of his hand on the inside part of the plate. And this is a good pitch to a left-handed hitter. I mean, it's not a strike. It looks like a fastball and pretty much unhittable. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, he's got to throw that changeup to left-handers. You throw that slider, you'll get plenty of left-handers out.
No, that's a designer slider. You know, that's high-end.
And it's always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, he has had that slider. And this is a good role. I mean, everybody wants to start, and Alex certainly can start. But, boy, you come in and just give you 1 inning, 2 innings of this kind of stuff to get to that back end, and he's got the stuff to do it.
2 strikes on Buxton, who's punched out twice. There is, just in case you missed it, Michael Tonkin, who does not pitch for every team the Tigers play against, but you might think so. After the Tigers got to him in New York, he was eventually dealt here after being designated for assignment. The Twins traded for him, a guy that they knew once. He came up through their system, and now Tonkin back in the bullpen for Minnesota. The rare occasion where somebody will play for 2 teams against the same team before the end of April.
Yeah, in like a week.
Right, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. The Tigers did beat him up in a couple of games.
Carson Kelly, the big home run
Look
in New
at
York.
that.
Oh boy, see you later. Strike 3 on a slider that locked up Buxton.
And he throws a changeup the previous pitch. And I think Byron Buxton's just confused. Like, man, I have no idea what this guy's going to throw, because this isn't even really borderline. This is a really good pitch on the outside part of the plate. But that's what happens when you get in between. You're looking for a fastball, changeup. Wait a minute, he threw me a changeup right on right, and then just throws that really good slider on the outside part of the plate.
That's an evil slider. And that is one of the toughest hitters. When he's healthy, Byron Buxton is MVP material.
Yes, I mean, you know, the way he runs and power.
Back to Faedo. Sit, says Faedo. 1, 2, 3 inning for Alex. 5-0 Tigers so far.
Welcome back to the ballpark. We just want to take a moment here and say thank you and farewell to our longtime fearless leader. Greg Hamron has been the general manager and vice president of Fox Sports Detroit and then Bally Sports Detroit for each of the last 22 years. He has steered us through waters both smooth and amid some ripples, and Hammer has announced that he is retiring, and we wish him nothing but warm sunsets and some cold ginger ales going forward. Hammer, you will be missed. Jason?
Keats, thank you so much. A wonderful tribute to a great man. I've just gotten to know him a little bit since joining up here, and wish him all the best, absolutely, for a thriving, very smart man who cares about great TV, as everybody does here.
Yeah, I was caught off guard. Just got the email yesterday, and I'd see Greg in the office, you know, at the studio, and would talk to him quite a bit. And I just was taken completely off guard. And like you said, just wish him all the luck and wherever he's going. But I just enjoyed learning from him the business side of TV, just the ratings and the different sports, the Pistons and the Red Wings and the Tigers. It was just a variety of things that he would send out emails with all the ratings and things like, you know, and I'd say, he's sending them out. I'm going to read them. I'm going to kind of study them and try to figure it out. So, you know, it wasn't just, you know, in passing. He actually, you know, spent some time with me kind of teaching me the ropes of the business side of the you know, television business.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, it's a full plate right now for Bally Sports Detroit, with the Wings playing, the Pistons finishing their season, and the Tigers just getting underway. Michael Tonkin is the new pitcher for Minnesota, and it's 2-2 on Javi Baez. So our call Sam best call. He is the 13th pitcher since 1901 to face the same opponent while a member of 2 different teams before the end of April, before the end of the first month of the season in earnest. Just 13 guys have done what he's doing tonight.
And the Tigers just again had just faced him twice when he was with the Mets, and a lot of times AJ always.
It's in the air to the left-hand side. Willie Castro, you were saying?
Yeah, he just talks about, you know, when a new pitcher comes in, the hitters come over and they look at the iPad just to get an idea of what kind of stuff they have and what they like to the movement of the pitches and everything. But the guys just saw him a week ago. They don't even have to go to the iPad. They can say, wait a minute, I got firsthand knowledge of what this guy has.
We don't imagine that the Tigers, in order to really, that clipped him, so Rogers is going to be on. We don't imagine the Tigers want the Twins to come back to tie the game at 5 and then have the offense beat Michael Tonkin. So we will leave off what the rarity score is for losing twice to the same team, as this does just graze Rogers. But it's even more rare, as you would expect, that somebody would lose twice to the same team before the end of April in different uniforms.
Yeah, and because he got that one loss, and it was back-to-back games, I think, that he threw in New York.
Yeah, Colt Keith drove in with that opposite field shot to left center, and then Carson Kelly with the home run the game before. I was going to say the day before, but nothing made sense day to day in New York with all the rain.
Ooh.
Big pass.
So Riley, we were talking about his opposite field power, you know, or going the other way, and he was not trying to go the other way with that one.
No, that was pull side.
Yes.
1-1. Takes down and in, 2 balls and a strike to Riley Green. This is the kind of game, and I know it's not over. I know there are 9 outs to get, but this is the kind of separation the Tigers just haven't had so far this year. And it allows you to manage in something of a different way.
Yeah, and I think you also think that both sides have to think about, you know, 2 games tomorrow, and you know you're into the bullpens already, and so that's why, you know, AJ is hoping for a couple of innings out of Alex Faedo.
This match is the largest lead of the season for the Tigers. The other one, the 5-run lead, was at the end of 10 in New York with Tonkin on the mound. 3-2 is outside. And look, the more stress you put on Tonkin here, the more you force Rocco Baldelli to think about going deeper into that bullpen and affecting tomorrow.
Exactly, and that's in AJ's idea as well. Let me see how many pitchers I can get. And like I said, there's some that could be coming off this weekend. Theo Bar, I know Josh Staumont. I don't know how close he is. He's another arm.
Both teams will have a 27th man as well for that doubleheader. So Simeon Woods Richardson likely to come up. Matt Manning scheduled to throw in game 2, and then Joe Ryan, Kenta Maeda in game 1. But the 27th man will be the starter for both teams, we believe, in game 2.
It'll be an interesting day tomorrow with Kenta Maeda going up against his former team. And Joe Ryan's just has been really tough on the Tigers.
High fastball theater coming your way.
Yep.
We learned such great things about water polo in spring training when Joe Ryan pitched. I'm sorry I won't be here for it tomorrow. Craig Monroe over in the radio booth, I'm sure, is reading up on the great game. 2-1. That's outside, 3 balls and a strike, and the Tigers really can affect tomorrow's doubleheader by taking here.
And again, just putting some separation too, and that allows too Alex Faedo to possibly close this game out, and if it doesn't get real interesting, you know, and save some of the guys down in the bullpen. But you're also getting to the point where you want to use some of those arms because some of them have been sitting around for quite some time.
Yeah, the rust factor.
Yep.
We didn't think we were going to get the end of the Addams Family theme, but there was time called at the plate so they could sneak in the end of it. So if Lurch stops by, that's why. It's because of the timeout by Canna. Right side base hit. Tigers are piling on. Joey Cora, the wave around for Rogers, and it is 6-0. Two-strike damage continues to the Tiger offense.
Again, we talked about Mark Canha ambushing and putting a big swing. Look at where the pitch is. It's on the outside part of the plate. It's a good hard swing, but he's not trying to do damage and hit that out of the ballpark the other way or to the left field. He's going with that pitch and hitting it to the second base side in the vacated hole to drive in Jake Rogers.
Mark Canha is feeling very good today. A home run, a walk and a run, an RBI single. And here's Torque. First pitch, strike one.
In the aggressive base running too, you know, Joey Cora over at third base knows that, hey, we're up 6-0. I can put some pressure on him too. Take some opportunities to get Riley Green over there to third base.
I love watching Joey Cora wave people around. He looks like a wind-up toy down the third base line.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, just kind of those very sharp, jagged movements, right? Bringing them home.
Well, let's see. Let's see on this gapper by Torque.
That would be very nice. Now remember, the scoreboard affects your ability to throw a position player if you wanted to, right? So the Twins have to be down 8 to throw a position player and save themselves for tomorrow. Here's a cue shot past the mound towards second base. Long way to go for Julian, and everybody's safe again. A croquet shot from Torque, and it's 7-0 Tigers. Exit velocity 30 miles an hour. The construction zone RBI single.
And again, right off the end of the bat, look at the spin on that ball. And just like the last time, was right off the, look at that spin. That's a tough play for the second baseman to make. Does a nice job of coming up with that and making it very close. But the previous at bat right off the end that he shattered his bat. So he's getting, not hitting the ball right on the button. Like last year, he was hitting the ball right on the button, right at people. So this is just the opposite, you know, hitting it where they ain't.
The baseball karma god smiling. 6 hits, sub 90 exit velocity on the Bally bar there.
And good for him, because you know he's going to start hitting the ball hard. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And good for him getting a couple of knocks where he's not hitting it at a 105, 110 off the bat.
It's a huge lead at second base for Canha, by the way, drawing the attention of Tonkin. I'm going to say something crazy. Are you ready? I'm letting you know that it's crazy.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Maybe I don't think it's crazy.
No, you're gonna.
Okay.
In a situation like this with a doubleheader tomorrow, is there any world where you'd be happy up 7-0? Not that you'd give away outs, right? But you wouldn't be hurt by the fact that you didn't cross the threshold for a position player pitching?
So the Tigers not scoring more?
Yeah. I told you you'd think I'm crazy. That's strike 3, 2 down. I'm just presenting it as something that the rules make you think about. I'm not saying stop scoring.
I know what you mean. No, I got you. I just think it would be hard to tell a Major League Baseball player to like give away an at bat.
Correct.
You know, like Matt Beerling, like I'll just go up there, and you always want to be a team player and everything, but and to be the best, that'd be a tough and competitor.
Yeah, no, we
talked about earlier.
It's out of the spirit of the game.
But I understand what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Just the way the rules are structured, it incentivizes a 7-0 lead, specifically with a doubleheader tomorrow, right? Specifically in this spot.
You got to get there to get the position player in. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just stay right here and eat up the bullpen.
4 corners, like Dean Smith. Just hold the ball.
Or you just put it on Tonkin to eat it for a while too.
Well, that's right. That's right. Especially if you know that you're going to have moves in your bullpen.
Right.
Fresh arms
at
some point in the series, but that's all speculative. Colt Keith checks his swing, and he went around. That's strike 3. Mark Canha, massive day today. So first, the Pizza Spear visited. That was all the way back in the first inning when it was 1-0. And then he shoots this ball through the right side, 7-0.
Welcome everybody back inside Comerica Park, where the Tigers are up 7-0, and they're pretty well rested after a couple of off days. I know Mark Canha is. He's had a monster night tonight so far. You guys, you want to know how he spent his off day last night? Him and a couple other buddies went over to Little Caesars Arena to catch the Pistons game. It was him, Jack Flaherty, Carson Kelly, got to sit courtside with custom jerseys, and they got interviewed by our own Johnny Kane, of course, asking the tough questions, talking about their love for Detroit so far and how much they appreciate the fans here. You know, it's fun seeing the team support one another, you guys. Jason and Dan, how did you guys spend your couple of off days?
Well, you know, I didn't get interviewed by Johnny Kane, so my day clearly was worse than theirs. This to right field, and Mark Canha makes the catch. Dan, how was your couple of days off there?
They were okay, but mine, you know, the idiot I am, I should have played golf on Wednesday, but I got my lawn equipment ready, believe it or not.
Oh boy, big day.
I'm a big fan of mowing my own lawn and everything, so I had to get all that stuff ready, and it was a good day to do that.
How about that?
Now I just need the lawn to grow.
I was going to say, it's 45 and rainy. Are you a riding mower guy?
No.
Old school.
Yeah.
Push it.
Yeah, I mean, I get a little help. The self-propelled, you know, it does drag me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you listen to while you're mowing the lawn?
Nothing.
Just
birds chirping.
Nature?
Yeah, birds chirping, the whirl of the engine, I guess, you know.
That's very...
Oh, that's old school.
That's very lovely, actually. It's sort of like an American Gothic painting. You should be holding like the pitchfork and standing out in front of the house with your lawnmower. As that is upstairs from Faedo, 3 balls and no strikes. I watched the Wings game for a while. I turned it off at 5-3, and then I got a text that said it's 5-5, and I was like, all right, I'm going to watch more. That game was all over the place.
And I did watch that one too. Yeah, that was an exciting game.
Oh boy. Farmer, and you know, for Kyle Farmer, who's recently within the past year been hit in the face with a pitch, that is the last thing he wants to see.
Yeah, and from Alex Faedo too, which he's usually has really good control too. That one just, you know, your mechanics get a little out of sync, and that one just got away from him.
Honestly, this is creepy. It was a year ago today.
Wow.
He was hit in the face with a pitch.
Do you remember who?
I happened to be there. It was Lucas Giolito of the White Sox. Yeah, and it was exactly a year ago today as I look at it here. Phew. That is in for a strike. I don't know how many guys you hit. Like, how did you feel after you hit somebody?
I was just gonna. It brought it to flashbacks.
Really?
You know, I hit 2 people in the face, and it was not. It's not a good feeling.
What did you do? Like immediately after? How do you cope with that?
Well, I mean, you know, again, we were taught differently, and it was, you know, it was by accident. That's the thing. So you know it's by accident. If you did that on purpose,
you got to live with that.
How do you live with that?
Yeah.
You know, and I remember one time Gary Ward, he was with Minnesota, and on a 3-2 pitch, I wanted to jam him, and I hit him in the nose.
Oh.
And I ended up playing with him. He came over to the Tigers, and we had no hard. It was one of those mutual respects, and he knew it wasn't anything, but that was not good. Yeah.
In the air left field, the rare play tonight for Riley Green for out number 2. Head to the ballpark early for Miller Lite Home Run Happy Hour on the Comerica Landing, which looked warm earlier today. Available every game an hour before first pitch. Get discounted concession items, save on Miller Lite, Topo Chico, and more. For tickets, visit tigers.com/tickets.
You know, also, Jason, I never had a hitter apologize to me for hitting a line drive off my body.
Really?
No. So, okay.
How often did that happen?
They didn't mean to do that, but I never had anybody apologize to me. So, you know, I mean, I didn't mean to do it, but it's not a good feeling.
I don't want to take out the law book, but there's this thing in the law called proximate cause, right? Where, like, were you the person that really made that thing happen? Like, if you dropped a box on a train platform which set off fireworks and hurt somebody 3 blocks down the road, who's at fault here? And it's me for starting a story with 2 out. But the answer is, you know, I think there was a projectile involved and a bat when they did it. Coming up, the Figer Law 7th inning stretch. You see what we did there? Begrudgingly, against popular demand in this chair, let's update Figer Law Pick the Stick. Can I remain terrible at this game for an entire season? How does this work?
I just looked down and I looked over at you. You knew exactly what I was going to say. We'll discuss it on Sunday.
Okay.
Because you got the first pick and
I feel like I just got called to the principal's office. We'll talk about it Sunday.
I don't care what John says. I do. I'm rooting for you.
Okay.
I am.
Could that have possibly been more condescending?
I mean, because I've been there. I've gotten off to slow starts too. It hurts. You know.
Yeah, it does. You see Wallner and Martin switching from left to center. Matt Wallner into left, and there is ball 4 for Gio Urshela. Look, I'm a very competitive person. I'm not athletically gifted, so I'm competitive in things like ping pong and bingo and the crossword puzzle. And so I feel like this is one of those games that if I'm going to win anything ever, I should be good at this. And I'm horrendous at Pick the Stick. Just flat out horrendous.
And I mean, look at all the time that's left, though.
Okay. It's just more time for me to sink further into oblivion.
No, you can come back quickly in this game. You know.
When does that happen?
And you're setting us all up. That's what you're doing. You know.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. There's Andrew Chafin getting loose. What is the worst score anybody has ever ended the season with? And can I do it?
Know.
Well, Parker's not helping me. And he's such a good guy. Like, if he knew the plight that I was in, I think he might just lay down a bunt in a 7-0 game and get me a base hit or something.
I mean, he's one swing, home run, you know, get you 7. And that's
your comedic timing is endless, really. I'm sorry, Parker. I need to tell people that I might be in a position to have to pick them. This is like worse than the SI cover jinx.
No, you don't want to say that you're picking them, right?
No. Hashtag I'm with stupid continues to trend in this side of the booth.
No, hey, I've never won this thing.
Yeah, so what I would say is winning is pretty far away from my mind. I'm looking to get to 0.
And you're kind of going the wrong way.
Okay, the look in your eye when you turned to me to tell me that was really kind.
I don't like to see, you know, anybody kind of suffer. That's what I'm saying. I just, you know.
You're being so delicate about it. Thank you. I hope Figer Law feels like they got their money's worth in this segment, because this update is brought to you by them.
I mean, this is going to sound, but I do. I've stayed up. There's another slider. But
I'm sorry, Dan.
I've traumatized this over this in the past. Who am I pick?
I now want to do a sponsored commercial. Can I do that instead of talking about this?
I don't blame you for not wanting to talk.
Now a message for the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Returning AZ Plant lessees can lease a 2024 F-150 XLT 4x4 Super Crew for $389 a month for 24 months. Only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
With Natalie Kerwin downstairs, Dan Petrie, Jason Benetti, our entire wonderful crew. We've all forgotten what we were talking about before the sponsored commercial came in. What are those? Those are that is our entire production truck. That's what they do in the 7th inning. 7-0 game. That was a joke, by the way. They're actually running the show.
No, that's a Friday night. They're allowed to have a cold one.
Have you ever had a drink from a vessel that big?
I have not. No.
Ever?
No.
That's like climbing Everest. I feel like for somebody as thin as I am.
That looks like it would go down quickly though too, right?
And then you would, I think, end up on the ground.
How many ounces?
It looks
22. I don't know.
It looks sizable. 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's say, well, as always, messaging and data rates do apply when you're on our telecast. Take a drink, guys. If you know that you're on TV, take a drink. That's what you're here for, right? Take a drink. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So many ways you can have fun at the ballpark, including losing at Pick the Stick.
And Talkin's come back.
And so have they. All right, it's time for the Miller Lite moment. And this video we dug up from the basement. This is Dan Petrie in his final start against the Minnesota Twins back in 1991, May 19th, 1991. You made some Minnesota Twins very unhappy that day. You know that?
I mean, but look how long ago that was. You can't even see it. The graininess and everything. You SEMO's highlights, they're perfectly clear,
Okay.
and those things are back when it's all fuzzy. My goodness.
Brian Henry was at the library all day.
The rabbit ears. Trying to tune into my games. What the heck?
Brian, our producer, was in the library wearing tinfoil all day and trying to get that to look as good as possible so we could air it.
I mean, if somebody's going to find something, it's Brian Henry, too.
He's the best.
He'll find it. I know. He'll find it, yeah.
His research capabilities, he goes to like the microfilm and he's like, yeah, we've got that. It's amazing.
I know. I'm just surprised that some of them actually were successful. I congratulate him for finding some of those.
Yeah, I love the video. It was a strikeout somewhere in there. It's like a magic eye puzzle.
I'm just thinking of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig running around the bases. There's the same kind of clarity in that.
It's from 1991 too, There's strike 3. All right, so now it's time to play our game. It's called What Have I Done, where we quiz you on your own career. Right, so it was May of 1991. It was your final start against the Minnesota Twins in your Major League career.
Okay.
Do you know who you started against? And he walked 6, by the way, in that game. The Minnesota starter that day.
Oh, I'll bet you I do.
You do?
I think he was a Tiger, too. Brad Havens, maybe?
So you're right that it is a former Tiger, but it was not Brad Havens. It is somebody that may or may not have had a job similar to yours, may or may not have thrown a splitter.
I was going to say it's not Jack Morris.
It is Jack Morris.
No.
And he's as grainy as you were.
Yeah. But I thought.
Yeah.
I thought the only time we faced one another was I was with the Angels. Wow.
There it was. He walked 6 in that game somehow. Cecil Fielder, that was his return to Detroit in 1991. Wow. How about that?
I remember him beating me 1-0 out in. He was with the Tigers and I was with the Angels in '88. Yeah, it was a really good game. Took about 33 minutes to play.
2-1 pitch. high in the air, center field, and that's going to get down. A base hit for Manuel Margot with one out here in the 8th. So you pitched very well. You went 8 innings, and you ended up getting an 8-3 victory. So we've told you all the good things you did that day. Can I ask you, who hit 2 home runs as a leadoff batter in an inning?
Off of me?
Yeah.
Probably, well, I mean, I'd guess Kirby Puckett.
It is not an iconic Twin.
Really?
It's a guy that I remember for playing for Baltimore, but that it's more my era, like in the early 90s.
Wow, you got really tough. I got that one in spring training so easily that
now
you
we're
had
just grinding you down to a nub.
I played for Baltimore.
Yeah.
And
he's a third baseman. This is a really tough one. I really don't remember him as a Twin. Maybe I should, but I don't.
Boy, I'm
all right, let's see who it is.
Yeah, I'm
and
sorry.
See if you're, no, you don't have to be sorry.
Well,
it's a very difficult game. It's Mike Pagliarulo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, now it makes sense. He was with the Yankees, and yeah, he was with the Yankees.
Yeah,
okay.
Very late in his career, he was with the Orioles.
But see, that's what I mean. I don't remember a lot of the good. I remember all the negative, like when you're showing the home runs and everything. I remember all of those, but I never remember beating Jack.
Really?
No.
How about that?
No. I mean, I remember him beating us 1-0.
This one gets away, and it'll be an extra base for Margot. He's into second.
Boy, Jake thought about that.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, that came off the screen pretty quick, and he thought about firing it down there. But no, I remember, and Alan Trammell hit a home run in the first inning, and won 1-0. And you remember all of those details. I don't remember the one that I actually won and beat you. I do not remember that. No.
It was one of your final starts of your major league career. Oh boy, that's a filthy slider. Strike 3 on Castro.
Yeah, he's Willie Castro coming back to Detroit. Struck out left-handed off of Faedo, flips around right-handed off of Chafin, and a couple of sliders. One slider from Faedo, a slider from Andrew Chafin, and a couple of punch-outs for Willie Castro.
Have some defensive changes to tell you about as well. Zach McKinstry is in the game, and Wencel Perez has also checked in for his first game at Comerica Park, as Margot is going to end up at third here. Strike 1. There is McKinstry. You see that wind is still billowing jerseys out there. There's Wencel Perez. Major league rookie who faced Aroldis Chapman in Pittsburgh. I love what he said about facing Chapman. He's like, I used to pitch with him in PlayStation.
Yeah. And that was, man, that was tough. That was a tough at-bat, that last pitch to get him. Oof. You can see some of the defensive changes, and some of the managers already looking ahead. Buxton get off his feet with Wallner here, and get Riley Green off his feet with McKinstry going to left, Canna off his feet.
Wallner has Margot at third because of indifference, by the way. Our wall side windows pitching change. We were too busy chastising Dan for his grainy video to introduce the pitcher properly. 1-2 coming, and just in time. Strike 3. Wallner goes down. That is strikeout number 25 combined in the ball game.
And not pitching in a week. Andrew Chafin looking pretty sharp.
Let's update the FanDuel Sportsbook same game parlay. Well, Mark Canna, he has had a monster night. He's had 2 hits. Parker Meadows hasn't been able to get it done, but Gio Urshela did come through with an RBI. So we still have one of these legs that needs to be hit. As always, in-game live odds are available on FanDuel.
Thank you, Natalie. Really appreciate it. And the Tigers building on a lead of 7-0. Jay Jackson, who spent year after year in Japan to get back to the States to pitch in Major League Baseball, is on the hill for the Minnesota Twins. He's 36 years old out of Greenville, South Carolina.
Throws a lot of sliders right now, about 60% sliders and changeups with a rare fastball, right about 15% on the four-seamer.
First pitch to Zach McKinstry is ball one.
And don't you figure, he's been so slider dominant, and the first pitch that Zach McKinstry sees is a fastball out of the zone.
With the proliferation of video in Major League Baseball, you almost have to be a tendency breaker all the time.
You go away from tendencies because everybody's going to see that, but then he comes right back with that good changeup.
Yeah, not for long,
I'm
right?
I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set the fastball, show it, tease you, and then go right back to the changeup slider.
High pop up. See what the wind's doing nowadays. It's Castro on number one.
And here's how the Tigers have taken that 7-0 lead off of Pablo Lopez. It's shown a little bit of everything. You're seeing guys drawing a base on balls. Gio Urshela not smoking the ball, but he hits it right to the shortstop. Jake Rogers drawing a leadoff walk, and then Riley Green hammering one into left center field that'll bring Jake Rogers home. He also had draw a walk by Riley Green. Mark Hanna with the big home run also was a big blow. And then Spencer Torkelson with a couple off the end of the bat, but in a variety of different ways, tacking on runs in the middle of the innings, in the fourth, fifth, and sixth innings to take that 7-0 lead.
Now here is Wencel Perez, who, hey, 30 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, whatever it is, he would love to have that very first hit, as off with his hat.
Big swing.
Will Vest is up in the Tigers bullpen. Good take, 2 balls and a strike by Perez. Three balls and a strike.
All right, is he going to see a four-seamer, or is he going to see some more of that changeup slider? Hit it the other way. Get something out of the plate, poke it in the left field.
On 3-1, is this the moment? Well, it's going to be his first major league base. Perez takes a walk. In a 7-0 game, would anybody notice if he just grabbed the bag and took it to the dugout with him?
And like you always talking about when Cole Keith got his first, his first RBI, and then his first hit, and, all of that good stuff. So, you start somewhere and you're on base, and hey, that's a good feeling too.
This game is so psychologically driven, right? You have to feel like you belong in whatever way you can.
And tell yourself a lot of those things, and I have to trust what I'm doing is right, instead of getting in your head and saying, well, I got to change this because I'm not having success right now. This guy at the plate's a big guy that talks about that a lot. I've got to trust the process. Just trust that I'm doing things right. If I start going and thinking I'm, dropping my elbow or doing this or my stride's too long, I'll be all messed up. So just trust what I'm doing is correct, and I'll straighten myself out.
You just think about the difference between the guy at the plate and the guy at first base and what they know about the major league level in all of the peaks and valleys and sort of the sandpaper that Torque went through the first couple of years in Major League Baseball. Torque in the air for left center field, and eventually it ends up in a Minnesota glove. Wallner there for out number 2. Hey, the best value in Detroit for your family is at Comerica Park with the Meyer Family Fun Day deal every Sunday. 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, bags of chips, and Pepsi fountain drinks, all for $79. For tickets, go to tigers.com/value. Great value to bring the kiddos, whether they are Pokemon fans or not. Are you, Dan? You a Pokemon fan?
I remember the kids collecting the cards.
You got to catch them all, you know. In the air, left center field. That ball smoked by Vierling up the alleyway. Eventually run down there, but here comes Perez. First major league time crossing the dish for that young man at an 8-0 Tiger lead.
And he's enjoying it, getting a lot of the high fives in that dugout. But here's a four-seam fastball that Jackson does not throw a good deal about it, and Vierling just drills that into left center. He knows it's down. He's saying, oh man, I got a good chance of scoring right here. He's starting to sniff it. He doesn't even have to look at Joey Cora down there at third base. He knows he's going to score. And there he is, the big smile on his face. Yeah, this feels pretty good. Next time I'm getting a hit. Then he gets back to that dugout, gets all the handshakes from the guys.
And you know what he did by scoring a run? He activated position player time.
And there he is. And there's Rocco.
Right away.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
He wants Jay Jackson to be able to pitch tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's all this is about. And so the Tigers sitting at 7-0 for as long as they did actually had something of an impact on tomorrow.
Yeah, and then he's got 2 outs, so he knows that he's just going to come in and just go 1 inning, or one out. I'm sorry, not 1 inning, 1 out.
Well, everybody here knows that Willie Castro will do just about anything when called
But
upon.
I mean, what a great call by you. That's, you know, right on cue.
Just the rule, that's all. Castro has thrown 3 times in his major league career. He has yet to give up a home run. 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and a couple of walks. No strikeouts as yet. Wonder why.
Talked about super utility. I mean, this is 45.
Is that the A side or the B side?
It depends on if he gets a hit, right?
1-0 for Colt Keith. And he takes ball 2. It's up to 50. Colt's like, I went to perfect game. I did all that training for this, huh? You got to wait, right?
Ooh, yeah, look at him.
StatCast 3D says low. The old Ephus.
That's a 12-6er, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You ever throw an Ephus pitch?
No, I did not. No.
You ever dream of it? Colt loads up and smokes it foul.
Willie Castro not giving in. No challenging him here on 3-0 on the inside part of the plate. Well, your eyes just got to get so big when you see that.
Oh, he rammed in a fastball at 73. He was baiting him the whole time.
Took him by surprise. Yeah, trying to embarrass him.
Oh, boy. Shenanigans.
Hey, stream Detroit Tigers baseball all season long on the Valley Sports app presented by T-Mobile. John Kidding and the former Tiger Carlos Pena getting you ready for Tigers Live postgame from here at the Feiger Law Desk. It's been all Tigers once they finally began. This one was delayed by some really crummy weather in downtown Detroit. But the Tigers are on their way to a victory and are thrilled about that. We'll get a postgame reaction after this one.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Canna, his approach at the plate. He was coming through in a very big moment right there, setting the tone. And then the rally that the Tigers were able to put together in the 5th inning.
All right, Natalie Kerwin handling postgame duties for us. We'll see you right after the final out. Jason?
Sounds good. Hope it's soon. Will Vest on the hill trying to close this out. Now the Tigers cannot use a position player unless they're up 10. So it's different if you're down or if you're up. So it's Vest, our wall side windows pitching change. Toward third, that is a fair baseball down the line into the corner. And it bounces away from McKinstry. So they'll take the 2 bases for Jeffers, and that's all. So no error. It'll be a 2-base hit. That corner, it takes some odd bounces, you know?
We saw that Riley Green the one that hopped over the railing, see this ball hit just fair. And it gets down the left field line, kind of just bounces around that little area that juts out. Got to be real careful. You go over and you know that they practice this, and it just kind of caroms, rolls up there. Zach McKinstry just kind of hops over his glove, but with the Minnesota Twins down by 8, they're not going to take any chances and try to take an extra base.
If you do want to get involved in the play, though, those are the places to sit. Because that ball will go like bouncing over your head sometimes and into the corner and all that.
And it's so low over there too. You know, that can be a dangerous spot, just trying to go over there and just flip into the stands. Yeah. You know, there's no net there, just that little area that juts out. You see that bounce around, hits that bottom rail, and then just kind of follows that hook, that little jutting of the couple sections of seats down there.
See the reaction of the guy in the orange shirt too, like, oh, I actually do have to lean back here. That's going to be trouble. This to shortstop for round number 1.
Zach McKinstry's usually in the infield too. You know, he's playing a lot of shortstop. Second base has been out in the right field, but you know, that's probably not a. You know, I know they take the outfielders out there and take them and show them all the different angles and caroms and bounces that might happen. But, you know, I don't know how much time Zach McKinstry has spent out there practicing that coming off that wall.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, and you can practice that all you want, but like a full speed ball into that corner, I feel like has almost infinite choices of where it's going to end up.
Yeah, you just kind of take, okay, I think this is an area that I'll try to cover and hope it comes right at me. Oh, boy.
That is fair down the line toward the right field corner, and there will be no shutout today. Minnesota is on the board for the first time in the season series on the Farmer RBI double.
And that's Farmer's first hit this year, is that?
It is.
Yeah. And this is just like Spencer Torkelson. This looks like it's right off the end of the bat on a slider from Will Vest. See him just go with it and just kind of cue it down there, just right over the bag. Will Vest is thinking, oh man, that's going to be one I'm going to get over there and cover. Just perfectly placed. And if you're Minnesota, that's what you want to do. You just say, you know, just like the Tigers did in Pittsburgh, you know, you want to give them a finish. You know, like, hey, we're not.
Oh boy, tried to get inside. That ball's hammered, but playable for Zach McKinstry for out number 2.
But just when you got 2 games, you know, you don't want to, you know, send the impression that, okay, we're just going to roll over. I mean, you want to say a little bit where there's a little bit of fight in us. Wait a minute, you know. So that's kind of the message that Minnesota's trying to send right here in the top of the 9th.
And they're just trying to get their offense on track for the year, right?
Yep.
They had lost 4 of 5 coming in. They did beat the Dodgers in their finale a couple of days ago. Santana with 2 out here in the 9th. Outside, Dan Dickerson will be here in the TV booth tomorrow. I enjoyed my 9 innings so much tonight with you, Dan Petrie. I'm leaving.
That's what I said.
Well, nice
the real test is, will you be back Sunday?
Okay.
You know, because I'm going to be here. So, you know.
No, it's been a pleasure sharing baseball with you. It's just the way the schedule bounced.
Yeah.
3-0 on Santana, and he takes a strike. 3-1.
Just be safe, and I'll look forward to seeing when you get back.
Thank you. I look forward to it as well. Three-1. Wave and a miss at a fastball. 3-2. Well, the last 2 home games against Oakland were tough losses for the Tigers and Tiger fans. Here would be a nice start against Minnesota for the season series, as this is popped foul. Tigers played so well last year against the AL Central, and if you can just stay afloat against the other divisions.
Yep. And really, you're just kind of saying, okay, well, can we play 500 in the balanced schedule with the National League, the intra league, I guess is what it's called,
Yeah.
and then the AL East, of course, the big bad AL East.
3-2 is below the zone.
And just when AJ was talking today, just about, you know, they want to play. You know, they're sitting around and you know, so they were anxious and chomping at the bit to just get out there. Let's get out there and let's play.
Yeah, this was a, hey, no matter what, let's try to see if this rain's going to push out, and it really did. The weather system did cooperate pretty well. This was very playable all night long after that hour delay or so, hour 5 beyond the original starting time. And this thing's not over yet. It's a base hit to center. They will wave in run number 2. And so Julian makes it 8-2 Tigers.
That breaking ball down and in to Julian. He does a nice job of fighting that out, staying behind it, inside out, and that ball into center field. And you're Will Vest, you're just trying to get out there and you're saying, okay, I'm going to get that inning pitched. He has pitched well all year. I believe those are the first runs that he has given up this year. And now you're just like, oh man, I didn't have this in mind. I wanted to just come out there and just get this final 3 outs.
It is so tough for a pitcher in an 8-0 game.
Right. You know, you always hear about those closers that come in a situation just to get some work in, and they're not used to it, and they end up giving up a couple.
The win's what matters. 0-2 on Margot. It's outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Jeffers a double, Farmer a double, Julian an RBI single, Santana worked a walk. Batter number 7 of the inning takes ball 2.
How about a good slider right here on the outside part? There it is.
Okay, strike 3.
There it is.
Exactly as you asked. 8-2, the Tigers beat the Twins in the series opener in 2024. A nice win for the Tigers with some distance, Dan.
Started off with a couple of days off and started off with a victory. You got 2 games tomorrow against your division rival. You stay unbeaten in the AL Central. Just keep it up on the 2 games tomorrow.
Dan, see you on Sunday. Have a great time with Dan Dickerson, and we'll talk to you soon.
Very good. Be safe.
All right, we say farewell from here inside the booth here at Comerica Park. For Natalie Kerwin, for Dan Petrie, for our entire wonderful crew, I'm Jason Benetti saying good night. Now we send it to John Keating and Carlos Pena at the Feiger Law desk for Tigers Live postgame. Keats?
Almost creepy the way that Dan Petrie called that.